What's up, film junkies? Welcome to Redemption 46 Studios. This is our first movie talk, movie reaction. I'm Nick, filmmaker, director, writer, executive producer, all that good stuff. Introduce yourself to the world.
I'm Kay, a writer and sometimes actress, and I really love movies. Let's go.
I'm Zach, camera operator, future director.
Um, I'm Keith, current writer, feature director, um, part-time actor, whenever I feel like it, almost never.
Mhm.
Um, s- Game streamer, things of that nature. I'm here.
My name is Jarek. I'm an actor. I'm a filmmaker.
So, we are here today to talk about Echo.
I swear he was
Um,
gonna say more than that.
right.
Right.
Um, Echo is a relatively new character within Marvel. I think she debuted like 1999
Mm.
in the Daredevil comics. Pretty much her origin is almost everything you see on the show as far as Kingpin raising her. She was supposed to rumble Daredevil, wind up falling in love with him. He hit like he hits everything. Um,
Everything.
Scarlet
um,
Hole.
she goes to kill Kingpin, and then things just pretty much like go left. And on the Marvel show that we got now, which is canon with the MCU, some slight changes have happened.
Mm.
This is a good way for us to start this show, just because let's be honest, I think everybody is either going to completely fall in love with this or people are going to completely trash it. Um,
Honestly,
I'm a little bit in between. I went into this with
Mm.
no expectations. Um, there's a side of me that wants to completely shit on this. And then there's a side of me that's like trying to give it a little bit of like leeway to kind of do its thing. But I'm gonna open the floor up at first and let y'all like talk because I don't want to completely like
um,
spoil opinions.
real
Well,
quick, I
opinion.
just have a question before everyone jumps in it. I thought
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
tra- Was the first scene in the first episode the ending of Hawkeye?
Dog, 70% of the first episode is
Was
from
Hawkeye right?
Hawkeye.
All right, I thought I was bugging, bro. I'm like, what did they
Yep.
like? Not
I
have anything to shoot?
I have
Like,
Oh, I have my notes.
I have
I have my
notes.
notes. Let's go.
I thought like,
Let's
bro, half
go.
of the stuff I'm looking. I'm sorry, half of the stuff I was watching. I'm like, did they only really shoot three full episodes? And like, beginning of each episode was like a filler of something. Because I was like, what is going on here?
Did they wait to put the Marvel logo on it to the last episode?
I
Yes,
don't know.
The iconic open.
because it kept
I
starting out
don't
with
know.
it started out with Marvel Spotlight, and I was confused as what that was.
Spotlight, I think, is about to
Apparently, it's a
be
new
a
thing.
bunch of
So
The show.
Spotlight.
A smaller limited series of shows or
that you
specials, kind of
that you
like
can
what
walk
was it?
into without seeing shit.
Yeah.
Kind of like Moonlight. Moon
Hmm.
Knight. Sorry. But nah, Zach, that's definitely on my list of just like 60 to 70% of the first episode is all filler and everything from Hawkeye. It took 30 minutes to kind of get into everything. I honestly think the show could have started from when she already was stabbed, leaning on everything, and I think
Yes.
you could have slowly got backstory and everything as everything went on. Because I think my biggest issue with this is I tried to come in and just like, all right, I don't want to compare it to anything, but I kept just thinking like, all right, I'm kind of comparing this to how Daredevil was shooting things, Punisher, and all that stuff. And I just think the storytelling on that was so much better than on here, how
Yes.
everything was kind of set up.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Damn, I don't want to shit on this, man.
I don't know if that's a fair assessment though. One,
Elaborate.
those were done by Netflix, right? So different studio.
Different
They,
team.
I
they.
just
I can argue 80% of the reason why we here is because everything that happened off those Netflix show. Y'all walked into this to see Kingpin and Daredevil.
no,
Yes.
that's true, but we also understand that it's not the same regime. We saw that in the Hawkeye series. Kingpin wasn't the same Kingpin that he was in the Daredevil series. But so like I didn't come in expecting that. I wasn't even expecting it to be as violent as it was. But
It's
I'm thinking
rated
in such a way.
R.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
but
But I'm pretty sure
Disney
was,
like
you know, I mean, rated R gives you the carte blanche to do that. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll take every opportunity to.
I think it was my. I
But it
think,
was
bro,
cool.
it was to add on to what you were saying. I think it was more so because of how things was marketed, and I think the way things are marketed, like this is going to be super edgy. This is going to be rated R, one of the first rated R Johns, and you probably don't even know it's rated R unless someone tells you.
Wait, this was rated R. Cat,
MA
Ma,
rated
sorry.
MA
big
mature
cat, big
audiences.
cat, cat.
Um,
No, well, I don't know. I think like
I
especially I don't want to get I don't know how we're doing this. I don't want to get too far ahead. And in one of the fight scenes, there was a lot of blood, a lot of you know people getting off quickly, and I was kind of
right.
surprised by that.
I loved it. I mean, obviously, it's not as violent as Daredevil or Punisher. Obviously not, but I think it's a good way to edge this stuff in. You know what I mean? Edge this stuff into Marvel in general because we're gonna get Deadpool, and that's going to be super fucking violent. So this is like the was it the what is it called? The oiling the gears. You know what I
Oiling
mean?
of the
To
tip.
make way for that. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
so we can stay on episode one for a second. I
Yeah.
honestly was surprised that they brought Daredevil out so fast.
I was too.
Um,
I
I,
wasn't because.
they was like, "Yo, we got to get this out right now. Y'all got to keep watching."
I
Like,
was not. No, I was not because everybody complained about She-Hulk, and he didn't show up until episode what 6 or 7, one of those two,
they said the
probably
writers they
8.
did, yeah, but they had to move
So,
everything around because things got leaked or
mm,
something. They said so. The
oh,
She-Hulk
something.
episodes are out of order, even though I don't.
Right.
Never mind, I ain't gonna get into
And I,
that.
I don't
Yeah,
think it
we're not going
matters.
to get
I
into
think the
that right
show is
now.
shit. But I think it went well. I think them going Daredevil early made sense because at some point she's no longer in New York. She's no longer in Hell's Kitchen. She's no longer
Hmm.
in Daredevil's warehouse. And that's not what the show was based on. The show wasn't based on her interactions with Daredevil. The show was just based on kind of her. So to kind of get
Exactly.
her away from that, you bring in the sizzle of the first episode, and then you actually like they did two cameos early. They did Ronan and they did Daredevil.
Is that a cameo? It
Is
was the
that
same
that's not
scene
really
from
a cameo.
Hawkeye.
It's just a yeah.
Is it shot for shot the same scene?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the
Yeah.
same
So I
scene.
didn't.
No
I'll
shitting
be
on
honest.
Hawkeye because that was a good show.
Well, no, I didn't even mind the scene for scene because it's been so long since I've seen Hawkeye.
Right.
So like for people who haven't seen it or just forgot it because it's been what almost over a year,
Exactly.
this was a good refresher, and I
that,
didn't
it,
feel like I had to go back and watch it even though I already watched it.
shit. If that's the case with Marvel, you're gonna need a refresher every time you watch something. Now,
Well,
Probably.
you probably gonna need a
I
Probably
refresher.
think you need a
because
refresher
half the
for
people
everything. I
didn't
think
watch Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I literally was about to say that. If you go to watch Miss Marvel, I guess you kind of need a refresher, especially for
Right.
the millions of people that didn't watch uh,
Exactly.
Miss Marvel
Right.
or WandaVision. Um, nah, man. So I wanted to love the Daredevil fight, and I just like
It was mad.
it
good
was
fight.
man. The choreography felt rushed. I hated that pause kick to like kick him. I was like, did y'all miss a cue?
That's a
Um,
fake out kick, bro.
no,
We've seen that
for
before.
5 seconds.
We've
It was,
seen that, but we've seen that utilized before in
my grandma could have
hundreds
dodged
of.
it.
Oh
well,
man.
when she grabbed her leg and did a hook kick, that was
Yeah,
actually nice. I actually like that.
Yo, that snap,
the,
that like
I
pause snap kick was my favorite bit. Like I was like, oh, that's fire. Like I was sitting there like, hey, she got him with it. Like I think he was anticipating it. She faked him out and then snapped. Man, I love that.
do y'all understand that with Echo, some people have her top 5 as far as like throwing hands, like choreography and
Yeah,
everything within comics and everything. So
right.
if so, I want people to keep the same energy that shitted on them Iron Fist fights.
Oh, believe me,
Like
Well,
like was the fight scenes and everything in here better than the Iron Fist fights?
yes.
yes, because I really don't remember the Iron Fist fights. I only remember season 2, and I liked season 2 of Iron Fist. I remembered him in
Iron Fist was
Defenders.
ass. I think that's the
Iron
So
worst.
I
Fist.
think it
First of
also
all,
depends too. Hmm.
I give him leeway only because he got the job like 3 weeks before. 3 weeks, he was notified 3 weeks ahead of shooting, and he only had time to do so much. So for what it was worth, for what he had, I think he wasn't fine. Fine, obviously, that I fight for the fights were ass, but that he got them at all within that frame of time, I think is credit to him, and I think honestly he needs another chance.
I personally
Because he
think
was a good actor.
the fight between him and Davo, I actually liked better than the fight that they did,
Yes,
and I think
yeah.
Colleen Wing will whoop her ass in a
Oh,
fight. So, but like I said, it's and mind you, people credited that show as like having bad choreography. So I'm just trying to put
right.
apples to
No,
apples
I feel you,
as
but I
far as
feel like
shows go.
Colin Wing's court fight choreography is what made some of the Iron Fist fights like even worth it. I think when they definitely paired him up with other people, like in the Defenders, he was
Mm,
cool. With Colin Wing, he was cool. With the Iron Fist, he was cool. But like when he was by himself, he just kind of seemed like he was in over his head, or he wasn't, you know what I
yeah,
mean, 100%. But
yeah.
I felt like she was cool in most of the situations. The only issue I had was some of the kicks with the prosthetic leg didn't look good, and you could tell by
Mm,
like the cut of the shot.
The the
It kind of took me out of it briefly.
the fight you can tell. First off, I can see all the splices that got thrown in the water. I can see the
I hated it.
CGI, like when Daredevil did the push up joint or whatever and everything. Stuff was a little CGI heavy and stuff. And like I said, it was just. I guess I wanted that fight to be a 10 out of 10. And like I said, I'm not
mm,
knocking it if anybody really loved the fight, but it felt like, huh. And it felt like I'm just like, oh, okay, she really should be getting her ass kicked. Like this is the same dude that we kind of just seen, especially now that they said that that's canon. Everything in Daredevil
yeah,
that happened
it's a
is canon.
timeline. Yeah,
Oh,
Um,
it's a timeline.
they said that?
Everything
Okay.
is on the timeline now, so all that stuff is canon. It's just like, hold on, wait, we just seen him fighting Elektra, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and all these people and shit, but he's having problems with a girl, and this is her first time catching a body.
Mm.
So it just was like, and I hate that they kind of left it a draw. I wish he kind of would have like trashed her and be like, "See you later, kid," or some
Oh,
shit.
it wasn't a draw. He definitely trashed it.
I'm pretty sure most
Yeah,
people would say that, like it was a draw or he left, like because she kind
He
of
Yeah,
got
left.
up the.
people say
She,
it's a
he
draw.
left.
I've read things
people are gonna say
that
it's a
people
draw.
are saying it's a draw, but I'm just like, honestly, that was obviously Echo's first fight and Echo's first
I
foray
think
out
Daredevil
into the
knew that.
practical, you know what I mean, world and whipping people's asses and obviously catching the body. She caught her first body when she snapped dude's spine. um,
You know what I hated too, okay?
mm.
What'd she say, yo, quote for quote, Kingpin had us run, it's time for a queen or something. I was
I
just
love
Time for a
that.
queen
And
pin.
I hate that cringy. Like, I hate the word queen and all.
It's got to
But
be a queen pin in New York
so
now.
so let's get into the nitty
yeah,
gritty. And I'm not gonna detract too far into it. If I had to ask y'all what was Maya's motivations for anything she did throughout this entire fucking series, what would y'all say the motivations were?
Revenge.
revenge.
Were they solved?
No.
She let this nigga walk away.
And I
So
like,
yes and no.
Like
Yeah.
what,
So
yo?
here's the
No,
I
thing. Yes
Zach.
and
like
no.
Zach,
that.
editing helped him walk away because I don't even know what happened in the scene. He was like, "What did you do to me?" Then we blink and he's in a car, and I was
He's
like,
in the.
Oh no, he was being dragged back. He was being dragged back, and the guy had a gun. One of the guys, he was being dragged back by one of his men, and one of his men had a gun pointed at Maya's head.
Nick, this is what they said. They said, Kingpin, we need you for Daredevil. Can't kill you off
Yes,
yet.
yo, 100%. That ending was rushed, and
"Then."
that's the same problem that Marvel shows have
So,
over and
We
over
talked
and
about the
over
so,
last
again. The
episode.
endings are
so,
rushed.
so what's gonna happen, Kay, is the same thing that happened with Kang. Y'all can't keep showing me villains lose, 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 and I take you seriously. Cause
He didn't
now
even.
I
They
can't
didn't even
take him
really
serious.
battle.
you said that they really battled
Yeah.
a spiritual battle, I guess, with
Yes,
her the Native
exactly.
American powers.
That's the worst shit
Exactly.
ever.
That's it. I don't even think of him as losing. She like incapacitated him mentally. I don't
This is
honestly,
not
I'm
helping the
gonna
man's cause.
Hey, Keith, what are her powers?
It seems like her power. So
Seems.
damn. You ever see
I
Silver
wrote down her
Surfer?
powers, but go ahead.
Wait. I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry, Keith.
Yeah,
Keith,
yeah, no,
I'm
I'm
so sorry. Don't answer this yet. Don't answer that.
mhm.
Okay.
I got pissed off. I'm sorry. So she gives people powers too,
No, she can heal things and bring shit back to life.
but she
No,
randomly gave her
she
cousin.
gave
Even
she
though her
gave
mom got killed in the car and couldn't heal herself.
Her
no.
grandmother
She
Well,
didn't
passed
have the
out.
her
power
mom was
when she was a
incapacitated
kid.
and died on impact. But
They all have
Guess the
powers.
spirits didn't show her that.
no. But what her she did give powers to her cousin and her grandmother, but it's only the women in the family because that's kind of how it goes. The powers
The
go
Oh,
from
bloodline.
in the bloodline of the woman in the family. Like she could, like
So
if
they
her uncle was there, she couldn't give it to him.
that's ass.
Her powers are literally echoing the abilities, instead of her taskmaster echoing the abilities of everybody else, she echoes the
She's
power
All
of
Might.
her ancestors. That's literally it. She's got
She's
the
All Might.
healing hand thing. She's got the skill of the sharpshooter. She's got the strength of her grandmother who gave birth to her mother, because that was a complicated birth and all that stuff. She's literally echoing their skill sets.
So she's also
Mm.
one.
Literally.
That's
Literally echoing their skill sets.
that's fucking terrible. So basically, what they
how
about to
is that
do,
terrible?
That's Taskmaster,
so
but just
That's
basically,
on her
beautiful.
bloodline.
no. So basically, what they about to do is and I guarantee y'all, watch me be 100% right. I guarantee you that that tribe are aliens. I guarantee you that
Oh
fucking
yeah,
tribe is
probably,
aliens. I guarantee you
probably.
they're gonna say that that tribe is aliens. They
Yeah.
landed on Earth, and that's Tucker or like it's alien
Oh yeah.
bloodline. Watch.
Oh
Um,
yeah. No,
Well, that
that's
depends. What do
literally
you think the people in the very beginning of the show were?
right.
well, it depends because sometimes people aren't aliens; they'll just be from a different dimension or something else
Hmm.
along the lines of that. Because
I mean,
some of it is a slight to echo shit that was going on with Shang Chi.
mm,
Like they even mentioned it in one of the episodes, like, oh, dragons are a part of another world or whatever, and they can mesh well with here or whatever. So they tried to echo Shang Chi a little bit, but like I said, they're gonna go the alien route. I think my biggest thing with the change of the powers is this, and I wrote this shit down. I was like, I just feel like changing her powers actually is a disservice to the deaf community. Her original powers are unique, so by switching out Echo's photographic reflexes, a creative use that her deafness shows, like that deafness isn't just a hindrance, but it's like one of her strengths. It it lacks like a narrative tone and shit. Like I feel like even with the whole when she normally fights Daredevil and shit, and he's blind and she's deaf, in the comics, initially they'll play with both of those and let her like beat him and do things of that nature. With here, you almost create a Mary Sue where it's just like, well, I don't need to do anything. I'm gonna just echo the powers of everybody before me that came. There is no build up. I don't have to train. I don't have to do anything. I just gotta echo from from before. Now, mind you, I grew up, I couldn't see and shit like that. I actually had glasses on and stuff like that. So I resonated very well with like Cyclops, blind characters, and things of that nature. So I'm just like, how is this a help? It seemed like now I don't want to say you slighted the deaf community, but it was almost like, yo, we can't lean into the deafness of everything because we have to pander to the Native American community.
I look.
But that
I
was how I
disagree.
felt.
Yeah, I disagree with not all of that, but like 90% of that, because I don't want to say the tribe name wrong, even though I literally watched it twice.
Well, she's supposed to be from the
Chowta,
Cheyenne. She was supposed
Chowta.
to be from the Cheyenne tribe, but they changed it.
Yeah, they changed the tribe to fit the Marvel universe, but it's still, I think, a real tribe.
So who was
But
going to
they
work with them?
literally consulted all those people throughout the entire
No, I get that. That's like someone
series
saying they
for
consulted
that. So it's
Africans for
not
Wakanda or
pandering, and
something.
I love the way that they presented the tribe. Not just look at this; it's a tribe. It was literally, you know what I mean,
My statement
day to
wasn't
day and every
my
day.
statement wasn't
I get
discrediting
it.
anything with anybody
Yeah.
Native American or anything. It was just that to take away from one power set to lean into another power set, you took away the greatness of being deaf.
Well, I remember the scene when she was looking at her opponent. I think that paid homage to her original power. She was looking at her opponent in that boxing ring.
But
She
that's
saw
from
his hand
Hawkeye.
shaking. And, no, 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 not the second one. Not when the match cut when she was a kid to the adult. That wasn't in Hawkeye.
Yeah, it was.
That no, it wasn't.
The scene where she fights in the
The
gym is from
match
Hawkeye.
cut. The match cut from when she was a kid to an adult wasn't in Hawkeye, right?
Yeah, we seen that in Hawkeye.
I need to rewatch that because
The
I didn't
only
remember
the
that
only
scene
part of
in
that scene that's
Hawkeye.
brand new is the conversation that Kingpin has with her that they shot as, and it was a deleted scene. Everything
Yeah, it
else
was a
from
deleted
there,
scene in
yeah,
Hawkeye. I don't remember, but that anyway. The point still stands. I think that was the homage to her original powers when she still uses it. She looks at everything, and her dad even said you learn by watching. So I don't think those powers are gone. You know what I mean? They're just overshadowed. I'll give you that by her new power set, but it still speaks to her echoing abilities just within her native her blood. So I thought that was dope. Yes, I agree with you. It was Mary Sue because she didn't have to train with it and all that stuff, and she literally got the flash. It was so anime coded.
okay,
This whole the first episode,
how you disagree with 90% of what I said, but then just agree with like 10 things that
it's
I
an
said?
arbitrary number. It's an arbitrary number, but um, this show was so anime coded. Like even the first episode, all of that, the 70% of the flashback, yeah, it's a catch up, it's filler and all that stuff to catch you up, and it's good for people who did not watch Hawkeye because
Who
people did
who
not
who
watch Hawkeye.
who the hell is watching the show that didn't watch Hawkeye?
I don't
You'd
know.
be
I
you'd be
really don't
surprised
know,
though.
but some people don't.
From if y'all were movie executives, what percentage of people watching this you don't think watch Hawkeye?
I don't know, but there are people out
I'm
there
just
who
asking a
don't. Like, you
question.
just have. I mean, I don't know. I'm literally telling you, I don't know. But I assume people people aren't out there are out there who don't watch that show, who didn't watch that show or didn't get around to it or whatever. Um,
I didn't get around to watching Hawkeye, but I'm watching Echo.
I mean, she probably just saw it and was like, "This is more my speed. I'm going to watch this
I
instead of
needed
watching
that.
Hawkeye."
I needed that recap because I forgot about Hawkeye. That was like a whole year ago.
Exactly.
Wow.
And my
And that's
question is,
and
right?
that's the
My
thing.
question to you, Nick,
Uh-huh.
is why is it okay for other forms of media, like Kay say,
Who
like
who
anime? Why is it okay for them to have filler
who
recap episodes?
who said I said that was okay? I hate filler most of the time in anime, and I hate recaps. It sucked when Dragon Ball did it. It sucked when Boruto did it. I don't like that. So I
I
never
think
said
it's
that.
okay. I think it's
No,
necessary
I didn't.
sometimes.
not. There's like 80% of the anime community hate it.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
fine.
definitely hate it, but
20%
it's
like
so
it.
anime coded.
So
Yeah.
why?
But
And so, Jericho, what
the
part of
20
business do you pander to 20% of your audience?
None.
A
What if
failing
that twenty
business
percent? What if that 20%
does what?
spends more on your product than the 80%?
That doesn't make
No,
sense.
it's
That doesn't
no
make
way
sense, bro.
possible.
What if they're
That
just
doesn't
trying to
make
cover
sense.
their bases and give a solid story? Like, it's just like, okay, I know you haven't watched Hawkeye in a year or whatever, or 2 years, or you might not have seen Hawkeye, so we're gonna just give this for those who don't see it. It's just like covering all your bases. That's it.
You know what
Like, I don't
you
think
know what
it's
you can
a.
do if you haven't watched Hawkeye in a year? Go fucking watch Hawkeye again.
I
Before
mean,
you
No,
go.
I'm gonna watch that shit again.
Why not?
I'm a one watch type
That
of
would be a
person.
I
business
mean,
move
that's.
for
I
them
don't
to
think
Now,
do.
that's a big reason. I don't think that's a big reason.
No,
If it's a
I think
business
you I
move,
think you're
Disney
speaking
should
on
have done
a
that if
you're
they were
speaking
smart
from a
business
position
wise.
of a person who's seen it. You're speaking from a not I won't even say a privileged position because it's not hard to go back and watch it. But you're speaking
Right.
from a position of somebody who has watched it. So like some
Right.
people don't watch it or haven't watched it, or some people are only tuned in because the Native American might have gotten around in the Native American community, or somebody's out there who's supposed to talk for us. Let's support. So maybe they're only coming for this, or maybe women are only coming to watch a new superhero. It could be anything, but I agree with Jarek. I did appreciate the Hawkeye recap.
because y'all
I
got to see
understand.
Hawkeye, right?
No.
Not really, because you gotta. It's not. It's not like. It's not a recap like shot for shot. Like they
Yes,
mix
it
It
in a
is a
little
was.
It
bit.
is.
it's a
Yes, it
shot for
It is
shot.
is.
So,
shot for
It's a
shot.
shot for
but but
shot.
It
even
was
but
not
even if
shot
it's a
for shot.
recap
It was
shot
Yeah,
for
like
it,
two,
shot,
Yes,
three
it
to
is.
shots.
compare it
They
to
extended the
I'm
scene.
literally telling y'all it was
Thank you,
shot for
Kay. They
shot.
extended the
it is a
scene.
recap shot for
We
shot,
got to
but
see
to
things
compare
from
it
her
to an anime
POV.
recap, I think does a disservice. Anime recaps are done weekly. Dragon Ball Z every week was 10 minutes of recap and filler every episode every week. That's not what this is. This is
And the
catching you up over a year and a half of maybe something that you probably haven't
mm,
seen, and then we're getting into it. They don't touch back on Hawkeye every episode, every time they talk, every scene, every shot. It's not match cut back to
Y'all,
Hawkeye.
this is a 5 episode limited series. It took up
Exactly.
70% of the first episode, y'all.
But that's
Mm-hmm.
my thing, Nick. It's
It
a
took up.
limited
I think
series.
that's
You know what I'm?
fine.
If that's cool
Yeah, I
for
think
y'all,
that's
then that's
fine
fine for
because
y'all.
I think
Yeah,
it's fine because it's
I
just trying to
think that's
remind
fine.
you.
It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. Um,
I'm glad.
Like I'm not
Going
going
back to
back to watch.
recovery,
What was Hawkeye like? 9 episodes. I'm not going back to watch 9 episodes for a 5 episode series. I'm cool. Just give me
right?
the recap.
Anybody that's watching five episodes of this won't have a problem watching Hawkeye again.
Nah, give me the recap.
Again,
Especially if I'm not
bro,
here for
we
Hawkeye.
are not in the times where you can
Give me the
rewatch
recap.
Marvel shows over and over. They get one watch and that's it.
Yeah, that was a
I tell you,
pandemic. That was a pandemic
So
thing. The
then,
pandemic
then, then you
spoiled
know
it.
what? Then Marvel is cooked just off of that, just because there are 15 things I can name right now that the rewatchability value is off the roof. So if y'all can't go back for Kay, how many times can you go back and watch Daredevil season 1 through 3?
I just rewatched it all.
Keith, how many times can you
I
go back and
just
watch
rewatched it.
Daredevil season 1 through 3?
Well, I I've never went back and watched them, but
Can Would it be a good watch for you? You take it too
is it
long.
good? Well, no. Here's the thing. It's a good show, but I know me personally. I There are certain things that I don't go back and rewatch. There are certain things that I watch every year annually, like Angel and Big Bang or How I Met. But shows like Daredevil, not necessarily. So I don't want to say no. I would never rewatch it, but I don't think that's. I think it's kind of disingenuous for me to answer
You
it
would
that
go
way.
back just to watch Elodie Young.
I skip
I'd
episodes.
watch The Hitman's Bodyguard for that. But
I
but
love the young.
but no. And also, like we said before, that is not this. This is not a Netflix studio show. I think it would have been a little bit more grittier. I think it would have been well more grounded. I think it would have been a lot darker
it's a
if
short
that was the
series,
case.
y'all.
So I
And I don't
think
think they would have touched the power set.
the reason why, am I the only one that's seen like the marketing for this? The marketing for this suggested and kind of let the audience know, like, yo, if you love Daredevil, if y'all like the
Yeah,
grittier, darker tones and everything, we're gonna lean back into that. The choreography is gonna be just as good. When that fight scene came out and it leaked, people said this is the best fight scene in Marvel history and shit. Now I know that probably was people leaning completely kind of just way over, but you know when people kind of start talking like that, it's just like, all right, y'all, let's
Expectation and reality kind of caught up.
let's kind of settle
That's why I
down
don't
with some
keep
of
up
it.
with the marketing. They be
But
lying.
yeah, I've never seen a commercial for this.
For real?
So yeah,
you've
I
never
never
seen a
seen
what?
like a commercial for Echo. I don't get
Uh,
commercials when I watch
I
YouTube.
second
I
that.
don't necessarily
Fair
watch
enough.
TV unless I'm watching football. And I just turned my Disney Plus back on today to watch this. So
Right.
you know,
All right, so episode 2 they had the Native American Quidditch.
It
Um,
was
you mean
lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
lacrosse?
It was
Lacrosse.
lacrosse.
That shit was
It
Quidditch.
was
That shit
an
was rugby.
actual. It was an actual game that they
sorry.
played. Jesus
Niggas,
Christ.
niggas.
Echo
Talk
killed
Man.
about
a.
a made up game. Quidditch ain't real.
Hey, watch your fucking mouth.
Watch your fucking mouth,
Watch your filthy
Muggle.
little fucking mudblood.
Fucking Muggle.
Please.
Mudblood.
Please.
Okay, so on that, Echo killed a building full of people and shit. That was cool. Um,
I love the train heist. I love the train heist. And I
You know
didn't.
what? I had a problem with that train heist. I ain't like how she
Fair enough.
influenced her cousin Biscuit into doing all that.
yeah,
She
it was
seemed
kind of
like a nice
fucked up.
person.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up.
She's just
But I
and
don't think she cared.
now,
Honestly, she
I was
was
about to
so
say,
fucked
Kay,
up.
she's kind of fucked up. She
She
came
Yeah,
and
she don't
is.
give a fuck about nobody.
she didn't say nothing to Bonnie. She used biscuit. She was
Right.
avoiding your aunt. You're kind of a
Yep.
fucked up
Her
person.
grandmother. That's
She
her
used
Yeah,
the
I
grandmother.
didn't
uncle
get
for
that. Why she didn't
recon
say
and then
something to
kind of just
Bonnie?
was like, well, I'm doing this whether you want to or not. Join in or
Right.
join out. After using them
She
for
was the
recon and
villain
everything
of the
else.
story. She was
Hmm.
literally the villain. And what the director, yeah, the director said so. She's the literal villain. She's not a nice person. She is literally this. The themes are about nature versus nurture and redemption.
But it's funny because she's like supposed to be a bad person, but I don't never feel it or see it. And like I
Be-
said, it's almost like you try not to compare, but it's just like when you look at all like the Bushmasters and other people that were a lot more interesting or Cottonmouths or Yeah,
He's
oh,
not an
Nate,
interesting villain.
But
who?
again, you're comparing the Netflix villains, man.
This is a
Like,
part of. Well, technically now it's all canon. It's
Well, now it's
all,
all MCU,
and
so
it's
he's
all
got a
yeah,
point.
MCU.
it's
But
all
even
canon,
still,
but the same writers
technically,
ain't coming in with the same thought process. The shots
yeah,
ain't, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
they're
I
not
think Keith though
making it
at
the
the end
same
of the
way.
day, yo, if it's good, it's good. Like because the Netflix writers weren't the same people that were the Infinity War writers neither, and it's just
right.
Yeah,
when
but
something's good, it's good.
they kept a certain tone within their universe, and it was universal throughout all the shows.
Well, that's
This is
debatable because I don't think the tone of Luke Cage was exactly the tone of the Punisher.
yes and no. So
Uh,
it was way more urban. So from that thematic standpoint, it was completely different, but it was still as dark, still as gritty. They still had the
Luke was
two
more
phase.
campy
They still
too.
had the two
It
phase
was a bit
villain.
campy,
Yeah.
Two phase villain. Season story arc where you have one villain first half, another villain second half. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So I think they definitely kept with some of those things. But as far as like being super greedy, well, one, I don't think Luke Cage was as violent as Punisher, but I don't think it was meant to be. But you could still feel like they were in the same universe. Like any
yeah.
moment, Luke Cage could run into Punisher coming out for a cup of coffee or some shit.
But Keith, I
Mhm.
felt
Um,
like the writers did a very good job of making some of those people, whether they were the villains or like the protagonists, seem a
a
bit
little more three
more.
more dimensional.
Not even just that and shit, just a little bit more dangerous too, in the sense of like Echo. They make it seem like she's trying to be a queen pin, quote unquote, and a
Mm.
mob boss. But I just never like get that vibe or that feel, and I don't. She doesn't even feel dangerous to me.
Nick, yeah, Nick. Sorry to cut you off. I think what my gripe with the character of Echo is, I think the show is cool, but Echo isn't that interesting of a villain. Like I think with other villains and other shows, they give you they almost humanize them to a certain point where you start to kind of like them and like that they're an anti-hero, or they show you reasons why you should maybe give them a chance. I just felt like they kept giving me reasons to not like her, especially with the whole Biscuit and Bonnie situation. I didn't like
Not
that.
like
Bonnie ain't
her.
do nothing to
Mm.
you.
I think the
Even what's
problem
his
with
face was
that.
cool too. The uncle was cool as shit too. The one
Oh,
that
I
owns
love
the
him.
skating
Oh
rink
yeah,
and
I like
shit.
Henry over her.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
loved him.
I never saw
Ain't
her
my
as a
whole
villain though,
family
so
better
maybe
than
that's
her.
me. I never looked at this as like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's a
I
villain
mean,
in the
I was
story.
just
well,
going by the
Keith,
writing.
I think people are saying villain. They probably mean like anti-hero or
But
No,
so from the moment we find out Kingpin is alive, she is no longer the villain. She is now the hunted.
mm,
She's not the hunter.
yeah,
Period. So like, and as soon as that happens, I immediately switch over to okay, she's fucked. How is she going to get out of this?
mm,
So now I'm empathizing with her. Now I'm on her side. So now everything
mm,
that she's doing, although it's like, yo, this is, I'm not trying to bring in, I don't care about bringing anything here. I don't care about doing this. I have a plan. I'm going to work through my plan. It's
mm,
naive and it's stupid, yes, but I
yeah,
don't see her as being a villain. I just see her as being naive and maybe not as seasoned as she'd like to be. Maybe she didn't learn enough from Kingpin that she needed to learn
right,
because she's not
right.
very calculated in the sense that it's not how you fight the war, but sometimes it can be where you fight the war
but
because you don't want
that's
to bring shit to your doorstep.
yeah, that's my disconnect though, Keith. Because like, all right, so let's say she's in the Thunderbolts or something like that. They did so much of a better job with Elena making it seem like, yo, she's dangerous, or yo, you don't want to get in a fight with her because she'll really like fuck you up. And they made her slightly annoying, but it was enough charisma in there for it to like for you to be like, you know what, I'll watch a little bit more of Florence Pugh. Even in the Hawkeye show
Everybody want to
with
watch Florence Pugh.
well that's true. Even in the
We
Hawkeye
know
show
you watched one.
with Kate Bishop with Shorty, it was enough meat on the bones for you to be like, all right, like I kind of see her growth. She got better. You kind of want to follow, like, and kind of,
Hmm.
go in with anything. There was just nothing there. Like everybody around me was telling me that, like, yeah, she's cool, or it's been 20 years, but you're still cool, and this, and it's just I never fully got involved with it. Like Jarek said, it was just like there were 4 or 5 more characters around you that were interesting. Every time Vincent
Right.
D'Onofrio was in a scene with you, he ate you the fuck up. When Daredevil was in a scene with you, like we gravitated towards there, which is funny. K. Vincent D'Onofrio on some scenes was a little bit Edgar suit.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
He started getting Edgar suit a little bit with the
Really? Which scene?
and I'm just, he was eating. That's my guy though.
Which
Huh?
scene?
It's
Which
I never
a,
scene?
heard that phrase.
But
Edgar
this
suit,
is
because Vincent
Men
D'Onofrio
in
was
Black One.
Men in Black.
Vincent
He was the
D'Onofrio
villain.
played in Men in Black One,
But here's
Um,
the
the
problem.
cockroach.
Here's the issue
Probably the
though.
Sunday dinner scene.
The fact that
Yeah,
she doesn't talk, hurts a lot of the scenes where dialogue may or may not be important, right? So she can give you facial expressions. And I think she did a pretty good job of that. But sometimes they don't hit when her face is not. You know what I mean? Like if maybe she had a
emoting. Yeah,
scar
You
or
know,
she's just
it's
ugly
probably
or
not fair,
you know what
Keith,
I mean. It
because
would be
Shorty's the better actor, so this probably isn't fair. Shorty from Eternals smoked being deaf. She smoked being
she
deaf.
uh,
is deaf. She
Don't get
is
me
but
deaf.
wrong.
also
She's
keep in
not
mind the camera
Echo,
No,
constantly
she
but
is
started to
deaf.
revolve around
so
her,
is
and we
Shorty
didn't
K.
ask
But
her
I'm
to do a
saying,
lot of scenes.
and K,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
she's a least component and doesn't have as much scenes. But when she's there, she emotes better. Like she just like you kind of feel everything like a lot better and shit. Just kind of And I'm comparing them just because they both are deaf in real life and everything too. So like I said, I don't know
Yeah,
what it
but
was, and I'm bitten.
part
The
of
show
Echo's
wasn't
character is
terrible.
being cold. Unfortunately for her to be also deaf, part of Echo's character is to be cold and kind of stoic. So that kind of tucks
Yeah,
away some of the emoting
and
that
that
she would
plays
need to be
in.
doing.
That's why.
That's the
Yeah,
unfortunate part, and especially when we're having scenes that require even anger as an emotion. Sometimes that didn't necessarily come through because she's playing it so cool. Like when she's talking to her uncle, is
right,
giving her business, and it's like you can see the anger in his face,
right,
but she's just like, I got it, I'm cool, I'm whatever, I'm not worried about
exactly.
it. How so and so feels is not my problem. How you feel is not my problem, and it's like
Hmm.
cool that's your character, but it's also kind of taking you out of the emotion of the scene for the
Yeah.
sake of you to seem super cool.
Yeah, and it
Honestly,
got to a point where
it's
it didn't come
relatable
across
to
as cool.
me.
But go ahead, Kev.
It was relatable to me because I get like that sometimes. So yes, it's the most annoying fucking thing in the world when you can't break that barrier. And I mean, I play my characters like that sometimes too when we're acting too cool for school. You know what I mean? So I can't knock something I do. And it doesn't always work, but I loved seeing her little smirks when she beat somebody's ass. You know what I mean? I love the how she softened by the end of the series, and we got a full smile. We got a chuckle with her would-be grandfather, um, and then we got a full-blown smile at the end of the series. So I it was building up so we could want that because I wanted that. I was like, thank God she's happy because she's been in pain this whole fucking time. She had her uncle who raised her betray her. She actually looked up to him. You know what I mean? And then the dichotomy of nature versus nurture. So all she knows is
Well,
New York. She doesn't know Oklahoma. You know what I mean? So she's like, this is my family, but he is also my family. And that, what I mean, came across really well when they were in Kingpin's mind palace and she called him uncle again. I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? But she acknowledged the fact that yes, you raised me wrong, but you raised me and I want to help you. And then she also wanted to help her family. So I liked her being badass until she realized her own issues. It could have benefited. I think all of this could have benefited from more episodes. I think all the
That
problems I
literally was
think
about to
we're
be my next
all
statement.
talking about. Huh? Yeah, exactly. All the problems that we probably have with the pacing and all that stuff could have benefited for 2 or 4 more episodes, honestly.
Yeah,
So
cause
I'm not like I agree on all that, but
Cause like the pacing definitely was an issue for me, and like you said, if y'all like the
too fast
retelling
or
and
too slow.
everything, it depends. Sometimes either or. In the sense of I don't have an issue with retelling everything that happens within that first episode, but I think if you rearrange and do things a bit differently, it comes across a bit more cinematic for storytelling purposes. Kay, if you probably add 2 more episodes, what Daredevil did a very good job of, and I know Keith that this isn't the Netflix cinematic universe as far as like the MCU goes, but the great storytelling that they did was they showcased Matt Murdock as a child, and you kind of slowly kept getting a little bit. And even when they introduced like the fist stuff, you slowly kept getting a little bit, and it built up, and you actually wanted to get more each episode. Just like, yo, shit, they stopped the flashback. Like what kind of happened here? A lot of the flashbacks that they show on here are only centric to Echo because those are the echoing powers. They don't have quote unquote anything to do with her, but just more interesting versions of her. Every character they show look more interesting than her. The cowboy, the the chick at the beginning that probably left the spaceship, the chick that was fighting in the lacrosse joint.
You mean her ancestor?
Yeah, every ancestor version of her looked like a more interesting story to tell.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Another side note too, that technology he made, Vincent D'Onofrio made, was fire as shit. The side
yeah.
language joint is fire as shit.
And it's probably going to be made soon. It's probably going to be a real thing soon for people who won't bother learning sign language. But like, I love
They
that
actually
she
have it
pointed
for
that
the
out as
glove.
well.
I mean, they have the gloves that actually speak because they use them for gorillas and apes and things like that. They put the gloves on them
Mm.
and they recognize emotions and it actually speaks the words.
Oh, nice,
Um,
nice.
I mean, like the movie Congo, that was a real working. Obviously, there was somebody in a
Yeah,
suit,
yeah, yeah,
but that was a real
yeah,
working prototype.
yeah.
So I mean, how long ago was that?
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when we
But I
jump,
think yeah.
yeah, Kay, I was gonna say when we by the time you get to episode 5, I think you get the logo and everything up on there, and this is when they let her know about the
Mm.
powers. Like, we got to call you Echo because all of our powers echo through you.
I don't think
Um,
nobody said they were going to call you
Love
Echo, but I
that.
think that she
I
definitely took that
really
name.
love that.
Um, I will say real quick, I definitely appreciated the culture that they gave us, and not like
Hmm.
not an oversaturation of it. They didn't kind of beat it. I mean, me personally, I didn't
no,
feel
Keith,
like they beat us
I
over
wanted
the head with
more.
the Native American culture. I
Yeah.
wanted more, but
I
I
wanted
got
more.
enough. It was it wasn't like I had a comparison too. Now I can't think of it, but it wasn't like I forgot what show it was, but it was where it was like, oh, here we go again, more this, more that. Oh, was she gonna don a bow and arrow and a feather headdress next? And, like it didn't feel that way. It
Eh,
felt I was getting enough of it. I did kind of want more, but like you said, some things were definitely rushed, and some things were needed to be more expanded upon. Because even some of the stuff with the grandmother and her just felt like, okay, let's have this quick sit down. Let me inform you real quick. You storm out, and then we just kind of leave it at that, and we don't touch it really again.
that
Yes,
should have been that
I
should have
feel
been
like there
built
was some little
upon
stuff
for
should have
two.
been,
That should have been a
yeah,
2 episode thing, and it
Exactly.
doesn't even really get resolved because they just meet later on and then they hug it out at the end,
And they hug.
and I'm just like, yo,
Right.
this it didn't.
there's a lot of
I mean, she did
ambiguity
save her life.
in some of these things, in some of these plot points.
Yeah, I wanted a little bit
Yeah.
more. And Kay, what might have hurt this, Kay, is that What If the season of What If 2 did the Native American experience better than the show did.
Mm.
You
Following
think so?
what was Shorty name,
Well,
I
Kay?
apples and
I
oranges
haven't
for
seen it.
me.
I haven't seen
What,
it, so
Coyote. But it was a different
Coyote.
tribe.
Yeah, yeah, Nana.
Coyote.
She was
Cohorty. Excuse me. Cohorty.
Cohorty was decent. Like she's decent.
Hmm.
She's
You
like
said that she felt Mary Sue and OP though.
oh no, I did. I was like, she's a Mary Sue, but like the thing with Marvel and the thing with Mary Sue's is most people don't give a fuck if you like the character. Let's like call a spade a spade. If you like the character, you honestly don't care if they're a Mary Sue. Now, if you don't like the character and then it's just like, hold on, wait, you got powers and you didn't do shit. Nah, fuck that. We seen Iron Man build that shit. We seen him build that shit in a cave. We saw Doctor Strange had to struggle for
with
3 years.
scraps.
She built a gun in a workshop from a pile of scraps. Like, come on. She built a working gun. Come on.
Yeah, and to be fair, and like I said, what the thing is that Echo unfortunately is going to get backlash for the last 4 projects that have sort of
Oh
did
yeah.
something like this, but they did it so bad that if you even lightly do it here, it's going to get punched up a thousand. Where people gonna be like, oh, I remember
So
this from She-Hulk. Oh, I remember this from that.
I think this is far and away. Honestly, I think this is better than a lot of the series that are out. As a totality body of work, even though it's a shorter series, I think it's better than She-Hulk. I would say it's better than Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
I
Um,
don't know.
I like it. I
I
like it better
hard
than Secret
disagree.
War.
You
You
said
know what I mean? Like,
the Secret Invasion.
yeah, Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
better than
I
Secret
like it better than
Invasion.
Secret
It's
Invasion.
definitely better than
And
Secret
like
Invasion.
so, in totality, like I think the characters aren't annoying. I don't think that I thought the way it was shot was amazingly well. I thought like
It's so
the set
beautiful.
pieces and the way that like and the way they take their time is just. I thought the story pacing was pretty good for the most part. Obviously, there are some issues. I didn't feel like a lot of agendas were being forced on, and the story was just allowed to kind of be the story.
Hmm.
Either you like it or you don't, but it wasn't like, well, you gotta like it because we're showing a lot of love to this group or this minority or this demographic.
Mm,
It just was what it
mm.
was. If you didn't fuck with it, you didn't fuck with it.
Yeah, what's hard
But
for me,
I don't know. I thought it was really good.
Keith, what's hard for me trying to rank the show is that like no fight on this show was better than
Limited.
any fight on the Captain America and Falcon joint. Their train sequence was better than this train sequence,
But
and
I
you
don't
Yeah,
think
know,
but that
I don't
shows.
necessarily think those were the things that for me would have. So I love the story, right? I love the history. I love the showing of history. I think they showed that's what it was. I think if there was an agenda, let's say this was a Native American agenda, I think this agenda was shown a lot better than how the African American agenda was shown in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah. And I think it's
Um,
not fair that like you use the black
mhm,
guy as the scapegoat for like one of the Avengers being broke, but
right.
every but Keith, my feelings aren't just saying like, well, since the action is better on these, then that's why I kind of like those a little bit better. I will watch
Hmm.
Sebastian Stan eating lunch for 2 hours than hang with Echo for 2 hours. Uh,
That's
That's
wild.
unfair.
That's
That's
wild.
unfair.
That is
I love her.
wild.
Him and Baron Zemo having a
That is wild.
conversation is more interesting than like watching her sneak on a train.
But we've seen both of those characters for years.
Well, we haven't seen Baron Zemo for years. We only seen him one time, and then we seen him the second time on the show.
Yeah, he been around though. Echo, this is new. We just
I thought it
getting
was
to know
three times.
Echo.
No, it was twice. It was just Civil War and then just on the show. Echo, like I said, this would have been the second time we saw her too. Mind you, I'm joking and shit, but I'm
Okay.
just saying like, it's hard to me to kind of rate where stuff is at. Cause even I don't think the stick the landing too. So you just coming off of Loki
Oh, it
2,
didn't.
and I had a lot of love for Loki 2, and I had some gripes with that, but it stuck the landing. And it kind of was like, really, Marvel shows don't really stick the landing. Let's call it what it is and shit. For some reason, I
Yeah,
didn't.
no, exactly.
For some reason, at the end of certain shows, you like, hold on, wait, what happened? Like Moon Knight and shit, I love the
Yeah.
show. At the end, it's just like,
Unsatisfying.
yeah, it was unsatisfying. And you just like, hold on, did you get punched and blacked out for the last fight scene? On here,
And then you showed us a fight scene we really wanted to see, or you didn't show us a fight scene we
So
really wanted to see. Like, what the hell?
for,
yeah,
for Echo,
Right.
for Echo, it felt like Shang-Chi. It felt like maybe 80% of the movie was grounded, and then all of a sudden, for the last 20%, Marvel started marveling. And it just kind of was like,
Right.
okay, cool. Now she turned into Braveheart, Speed of a Bear, Strength of a Bear, Speed of a Puma, Eyes of a Hawk. You
Honestly,
know what I
I
mean?
got
It
Deku.
just seemed like that.
Braveheart is hilarious. But
I got Deku. I got
No, it
Deku and All
definitely
for
was,
One.
and I said it before. I said it was
That's
definitely
it.
like it definitely gives me All for One vibes.
well,
That's what
the
her
well,
power is, all
well,
Yeah.
the,
one.
well, the, well, the
Deku and All for One.
basis, but the basis of Shang-Chi when you go in, or Shang-Chi when you go in there is you got these 10 rings that an alien dropped off. So you already kind of go in
Mm.
like, oh, okay, y'all about to be on some shit. If you didn't
At
watch
some
the
point,
trailer
yeah.
for this, you wouldn't know that she's about to have powers from her ancestors from Native American like culture or anything.
I don't think they wanted to spoil
No,
it.
I
I
get
think they
you.
wanted to
I get you,
surprise
but
us,
you
but
know,
Yeah, it's like I said, it kind of ruins some of the nuances on some of the shows where you kind of see the level ups. Like I said, people may hate Iron Fist, but there's level up on there and there's learning, and then okay, by the time season 2 comes, now I know how to do this and do that. With here, like I said, when the last episode hits, it's kind of just like you get some power, you get some power. All right, we're free now, and then let's go to New York, I
right.
guess. And now we about to get the New York line where he runs for mayor and shit. Just that comic storyline.
Hold on,
Um,
excuse me for
I
a
think that
moment.
goes into Amazing Spider-Man.
Possibly, but I think they probably trying to set up Daredevil.
Another
That's what I
Daredevil
think they're
with him as
doing.
mayor.
Cause we get in
That'd
the
be funny.
Daredevil joint, it's like 30
Oh, that's right.
episodes.
Daredevil's yeah, yeah, 30.
Yeah,
It's about to
and
be like
shit talking
30
about.
19.
episodes.
19.
Jeez.
19
19
episodes in one
episodes.
season is crazy.
It's like 30.
I
Hour
mean,
Like
they
long?
30.
what? The first Daredevil had like 14 episodes, I think. The
Probably
first
10.
season of Daredevil had like
Probably,
14.
probably 10. I can fact check that.
I just watched it like last week. I'm pretty sure it's like for 14. I don't know. Just check. Um, what was I gonna say?
13 episodes.
Um, okay.
Because they had a, they
Yeah,
had
they
a, they had a lot
failed.
of they had a lot of backstory to tell.
Two episodes per-
Mm,
What'd you say, Jared?
I'm from a time when they used to drop 22 episodes per season.
right.
Yeah, but that
I
was
don't mind.
mostly for regular TV, not Netflix. Like Supernatural would do that, Heroes would do that, but like regular for Netflix
Especially if
originals,
you,
they wouldn't go
especially
past like maybe 14, 15.
especially a 30-minute show versus like an hour show or something. Because them
Right.
And even
Daredevil
the
Jones
hour
are still
And
an
shows,
it had
hour.
benefited.
yeah,
It had
and
benefited
even the
from
ones that
being.
they brought
If
over
it
like
was 5
Supernatural wouldn't be the
episodes, it
full
would have
hour.
benefited from them. Sorry,
Now, what's your name? You said they'd have been
who
benefited
was
from what?
talking? I'm so sorry. I interrupted somebody who's talking.
Nah,
No,
I
no, you
heard
good.
I heard Keith point.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry, Keith. Um, yeah,
No,
it would
no,
have
no, you're fine.
benefited from being an hour long or an hour and 15 minutes long. Instead, if it was going to be five, you know what I mean, 5 episodes, and it's just like it was literally 15 minutes worth of credits. And I understand that everybody needs to be credited because everybody worked their asses off. Because um, going back into the town, you know how towns feel so staged and cheesy. You know what I mean? In like certain shows, every
Mm-hmm.
time it's just like it's just that hi neighbor and all that stuff. That town felt real, and it's a real town. And that
Hmm.
place in Oklahoma is a real town, Tamaha, Oklahoma. So, but it felt lived in. It felt like alive.
Occupied.
It didn't feel just like a background. Like we saw the warehouse, we saw the fire station, we saw the roller rink. I love the rolling rink. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like an actual town
Oh, you
and
talking
not
about when
something in the background.
Melissa McCartney had her tied up in the back and shit?
I can't not Melissa McCarthy.
Then the
Yo,
hillbillies, when the
That was
I
the
hillbillies,
was
first thing
watching it.
I thought, bro.
No, I was
Bro, it was
watching it.
the
I said,
first
if
thing I
Nick
thought.
gonna
I was like,
talk
I'm
about
not doing
nothing
my
else,
girl
man,
like
he gonna
that.
talk about how Echo let these hillbillies like hold her down and kind of hold her hostage,
that
Yo,
pissed
like
fair
me
and not
enough.
off.
move and not make moves.
That pissed me
With the
off.
gun in her face?
What
With
But
the
the?
she
gun in
couldn't
her
even hold the
face?
gun.
Or when?
Kay,
She holding the gun like
she's supposed
this.
to be dangerous. This is
I
this is
know,
this is
I
Kingpin's
know.
this is Kingpin's assassin to kill Daredevil in
Slash
most lores
protege.
slash protege that can rumble almost anybody in the MCU. She's supposed to be dangerous.
All right.
Somebody would have some
From the perspective, no, okay.
Elena would have punched ice cream
Can
scoops out
smoke
of
them,
short.
yes.
You can't-
But
I
from the
can't. I can't.
perspective of it being a grounded show, because I'm putting it in quotes because
Mm.
obviously we have the supernatural element. Grounded show, and from the perspective of gun safety, having been around guns and all that stuff, I'm not approaching somebody who does not who are scared to hold a gun. Because obviously they were holding the guns, the fingers were on the trigger, even though they weren't prepared to shoot. She cocked the
Okay.
gun back. I'm not taking no chances.
Name
You know
another
what I mean?
MCU
With a little
project that you
kung
had to put
fu.
gun safety in quotation marks. Why a protagonist couldn't fight two
No, no, no.
hillbilly
I'm talking about in
whores?
real. No, no,
It's like,
no. I'm talking
nah.
about in real. Like if I was in a real life situation, I don't care how good my kung fu is.
This
You
isn't
know what
real
I
life
mean?
though.
Or my self defense. I know, but I'm just saying. Like, so if you want to look at this through the lens of realism, because they give you realism, two scared people holding guns up to you with probably itchy trigger fingers, I'm not taking no chances.
Okay, why
I
am I?
was mad
Okay,
about that too, but I'm like looking at the perspective of, okay, I don't want them to misfire, and I don't want them to fire in case I twitch. You know what I
okay,
mean?
this is
They were
somebody
so
that
scared of.
conjures magic energy from their ancestors. What level of realism and groundedness
But
are we
she
talking?
wasn't doing that. That's what I'm saying. That's
Even
what I'm
even
saying. The
okay,
the, the grounded show in quotation marks.
even without that,
But she wasn't doing that
you
right
just
there.
rumbled Daredevil. You can't get out of a room with two
With no
people.
gun, like right, with guns pointed in
I
their
mean, well,
face.
She kind of
When her
did, but it
thing,
was at
excuse
her
me.
own time. I think they had to stretch the episode a little bit.
You can tell they were stretching the episode. They came in the room. She didn't even have a plan. She just was like, "I'm gonna punch you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Yeah." The writing room needed 10 minutes. The writing room needed 10 minutes out of it.
No, I think it just shows her character is just
It's just
chaotic and
I
not.
guess chaos things like that. Take that 10 minutes and elaborate more on her character. Go do other things with that 10 minutes to have her waiting in a
I
room
give you
for
that.
fake tension because it was no tension. It was like y'all gonna come
I
in.
give you that, Nicholas, because I wanted the episodes to be longer and I wanted more episodes. So I give you that. You know what I mean. They needed to stretch out or pad out the runtime or whatever. But yeah, I'm like, if I'm going to actually view this objectively, honestly, with a gun in my face or two guns with persons who don't know how to use guns and are probably scared, I'm not doing the shit because anyone anytime I'm gonna get shot in the face by accident or otherwise.
I,
So that's
I
just me.
yeah,
That's how I looked at
I
it.
think a series of little things is the reason why I'm a little like lukewarm with the show
Mm,
because, like y'all said,
I get you.
from like from how it was shot and everything and the acting, everything was cool. I think all the side characters killed it. I love the town. I love the look of everything. But those little things, well, villains aren't really little. But those side villains and everything else, when you're not intimidated by them, when you feel like the protagonist can't get out of situations and it's not done in a way where it's like, oh, well, she had to work for it, it turns some shit into
Or it makes you
slapstick.
feel, yeah.
Mm,
Let me ask you a question, and I don't want to get off the subject, but I did want to ask this earlier, and do you feel like the show, not just the episode, but the show would have been better had her powers not been supernatural? Because
Yes.
as grounded as it was, I enjoyed all of that. It was only until the
mm,
last episode where it was just kind of like, okay, here we go. All right. You know, but all the grounded
yeah.
stuff, I loved all of it. I loved the interaction. I loved the family dynamic. I loved even the tension between her and her grandmom until there wasn't. Like the made up
Mm,
tension. I like that too. Like I don't know. There was a lot of it that I did like as far as from a writing standpoint, as far as from a character building standpoint. Like you actually kind of gave a shit about these characters. Like by the
mm,
fifth episode, and they didn't. And I still don't think they got enough screen time. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. Like if this had didn't have the supernatural element to it, um, I still think I probably would like maybe the show a little bit better, or at least I would have liked the landing a little bit better.
I think that's exactly what it is though, because it's just like before we even got into this, I think Jarek said he liked biscuits, and I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna get out of this. They're gonna like biscuits. They're gonna like Bonnie. They're gonna like the uncle. I forget his name that owned the roller rink.
Yeah,
Henry.
Henry. And the grandmom was cool. I love the boy that used to be like kind of like her grandmother's like ex.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Her
The
grandmother's in
dude
it too.
Yeah,
he's
he's
from
on
what was he? Law and
everything.
Order. Law and Order.
Yeah, he was on Last of the Mohicans. Like I think.
Yeah, so I love all that, and then shout out to the production for having real Native Americans, not like whitewashing or doing anything of that nature. So like the show did everything good. It just was like the little things where it was just like, yo, I wanted her to feel more intimidating and more badass. Like she didn't have one of those like, and I know
Yeah.
the character isn't supposed to be flashy, but just more so like when certain people are in situations like you watching Punisher, mind you, he's getting trashed a lot of the fights, but a lot of times you always just like, yo, he's gonna come out of this and be cool. Even
Right.
Daredevil and shit, it's just like, yo, that's not enough. His one take shot when you seen all those people running in and shit, it's just like, yo, this isn't enough people to kind of fight him. They
Mm,
did. I thought the execution for the fight at the skate worked better when they were in those smaller spaces. And then by the time they got out into the open field and she was just kind of like throwing the stuff and everything, and I was like, all right, this is turning to Home Alone, like a little bit as far as it didn't feel serious.
I didn't like her throwing the balls, but I
Yeah,
liked the whip. I like the whips.
the
Like
whip joint was
the
cool.
laser tag. Yeah, not the laser tag. I
That's
don't even
because
know
you were
what
thinking
the
about
tag.
Iron Man too. That's why you like the whips.
A what? Excuse me.
No, Nick.
Whiplash.
Oh, yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
so
Did
I
you
mean,
like the part where she was like Velociraptoring the guys in the laser tag area? Like
Oh
she was
yeah,
snatching them off screen.
she, yeah. It is funny too. People
Like
was
that.
like cold cock punching the shit out of her, and she just was eating shots, and I was like, oh, okay. Uh,
Yeah.
so I
I
Yeah.
mean, I
thought,
said that in the Daredevil fight when he hit her with the Billy stick. I'm like, she just shook that off.
yeah, I was like,
Okay.
she shook one joint off, and I'm just like,
Mm,
I would have preferred if sometimes with those hits, it gets sold a little bit more, and we've seen Black Widow do that to where
mm,
someone hit, her body has to contour a whole different way to like absorb a shot.
mm.
So it was
Cause she's
things
a
like that.
smaller individual. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
I mean, in the Black Widow movie, they just was like, yeah, we're gonna do anything because she can't die right now. Just like, okay. Um,
which
how
is
did you
funny because she
feel?
had the Taskmaster powers. You were literally supposed to echo people movements, but like I said, that.
I
But
mean,
go
I
ahead.
think if she'd have done Taskmaster better than Taskmaster, we would have been like, it's another Taskmaster, like a reboot of the Taskmaster, and we'd have gave her shit for that because they did it so poorly in Black Widow.
I don't think people would have
Um,
gave her shit just because it's literally her power set. So
I mean, this is the internet we're talking about. People that gave her shit for that. Um, I was gonna ask you something
yeah, I
with the
think
Daredevil fight too. I think he was more toying with her because the way he was like stalking around her and looking at her and all that stuff when he was fighting, it felt like he wasn't even really there,
I like the
even though he
scenes.
was there.
the first 10 seconds of the fight he's playing the whole. He said, "I've been
Hmm.
watching these guys all night."
Right.
It's like you watched everyone get murdered for
Right.
5 minutes.
I was like, wait a minute, what? Dude, what are you
He
doing?
said, "Fuck them."
Was that was in New York, right? That wasn't, yeah, obviously
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
New
in New
York.
York.
Never mind, never mind. Um, but yeah, but she was like in her beginning. I think she was terrified too. Obviously, she was terrified when she came into the room. She was like, "What am I gonna do? I don't
Was,
even know what I'm gonna do." And
wasn't that
then
scared?
the guy
She
jumped her.
snapped Buddy neck that was Keith size and shit. That just stood there and got his neck broke. But I was like, cool.
I like that. When she broke Bull's spine, that was nice.
Yeah.
It's
You know what I hated and I knew they was gonna do? I knew when he went to pat her down that he was gonna rub on her ass.
yeah, same,
I knew he
same.
was
I
gonna
knew
rub
Just
on her
it.
like
ass, and I was like, she's gonna
And
kill
I
him
was
later
like,
on. Yeah, they're setting it up so she can hit him later on, and we be like, well, it was justified because
Yeah, I
I
saw
didn't
that
even
too,
think
bro.
it was justified.
Yeah, I
It's just
definitely
like,
seen that
why would you
happen.
even do that though? They were like, there was lots of other ways that you could have got him to be an asshole instead of obviously turn around and fill up her. Oh, come on, man! I'm like, I'm not turning around for you, nigga.
I was like,
Like, I'm really not the one for
everyone's a
you.
rapist in the MCU.
Right? And I'm just like, I mean, there
He
are
said, "Get
those
off me,
people
Harvey
who do that.
Weinstein."
I was about to say the
There are those
Weinstein
people who
CU.
do
Get
that,
off.
but I'm just like, Jesus. It was
Yeah.
so obvious. And that's what I hate. That's yeah. That knocked points off for that episode.
So yeah, so all in
Um
all, for the people that are watching, that's probably gonna be like, either me or people didn't understand. I get the whole concept of the show. The whole concept of the show seems to be stopping the cycle of violence and hate, and just turning, especially like because it seems to be an arc for like the father daughter
General.
relationship and generations,
To be
and
remanded, especially with Kingpin. Yeah.
yeah, and just trying to stop that hate. And whatever she did to him is probably symbolic for trying to stop the hate that he had within him. And I get that. I just feel like it is very rushed. And I didn't like the whole like what happened? What's going on?
yeah.
That was me
Yeah.
watching too. Like I don't know, bro. I'm with
I
you.
mean, I kind of got it was a magical therapy session, essentially what it was. Like she was like, give me the
Yeah.
hammer, give me the thing that you've been holding on to since you were a kid. Give me that stress, give me that trauma, give me that thing that symbolifies or the symbolic of all the hate that you have in your heart. Give it to me. Let me have it.
Character
Yeah.
That's
master's
essentially
ability
what
when
it
they
was.
first got it. Cliche.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think look, I 100% with you. It should have been more episodes. It should have been padded out more to make us understand and feel why she needed to do that. You know what I mean? Um
So here's the thing. I agree with you. There should have been more episodes, but I don't think the story plot, the way they told it, needed more episodes. I think it maybe just needed more episodes to fill out the rest of the story around the story plot.
that's what I'm
If that
saying.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the story was solid. I
because
bought the
I
story.
thought the
It
5 episode time was perfect for what they wanted to do. It wasn't, oh, this is way too short. I didn't get anything that happened, or it wasn't like, yo, what is this shit over? I'm tired of
mm,
because I think I like Miss Marvel, but I think Miss Marvel suffered from having too many episodes. That it
it was
just
only
felt like some of the
6.
episodes were drawn out for no reason.
It was only
I don't
6
think this
though.
suffered from that. Yeah, but you probably could have did that in 4.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what.
but I felt it felt rushed. Like the last episodes of Marvel shows always feel rushed and just like I'm unsatisfied at the very end of them.
And that's
Like
why
with
knowing,
WandaVision, I think I liked it. I
and
don't
that's why
remember if I
Kay,
liked
knowing everything that we know in episode 5 brought me to what.
mm,
That's why I felt as strongly as I felt about episode 1, because you can
mm.
take, even if you can
Fair enough.
still 10 minutes,
Okay.
and like that's my frustration. If you can still ten
I okay, I
minutes
get it now.
from the recap and take that
Mm,
and maybe blend out a little bit more of something, then I
mm,
think that'll work very fine. Because in with filmmaking, it's like show don't tell, and they tell us a lot of stuff on here, just like, oh, this is going on, or you're supposed to love this person, or this, and I'm just like, well, just show us, and then we don't get all her flashback because, like I said, you're trying to get the ancestors flashbacks. So it just
mm. No, I get
it was a lot, and it probably should have been at least one more episode to kind of flush things out. And I kind of hated him being like, Maya, meet me on the plane, blah, 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 because he comes
it.
off as real genuine and just like, all right, like, I don't want to hurt her, da da da, et cetera, et cetera. And then as soon as she's not there, it's like, well, fuck it, I'm about to just kill everybody and turn up. So what do he think is the outcome? Because she clearly isn't coming back. So it's like you think you gonna kill her grandmom and her cousin and then kill her. So then that means the show was for nothing. You were basically bored on a weekend and came back to this little town.
He didn't want to kill her. He was going to kill her because he did that in Daredevil season 3. He emotionally manipulated that and groomed poor Dexter,
But
killing his girl,
it was done
killing his
so much
girlfriend.
more better on there when he did
Yeah,
that to Poindexter. Go
yes,
ahead.
but he did the same thing to Poindexter. Although he's really emotional. I believe him when he says he loves her. He's just fucked up about it. Honestly, and he just goes. It's like Thanos to Gamora. You know what I mean? It's just like this is not love. This is his version of love. It's a fucked up love, but it's his version of love. So he was going to kill the cousin and the grandmother in hopes that she would have nothing left and decide to come back to him. Obviously, that's not going to go well. Like
Not
I
even
feel like
it's
I
decide,
feel
just
like in
have
no
no other
that
choice.
was a villainous breakdown right there. You
yeah,
know
I
what I mean?
just feel
Because
like
he loves her so much.
in no universe does that work out for you, buddy.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I mean,
And then she
we've
did
seen
basically
Kingpin
talk
in
no
a
jutsu.
couple iterations
Like,
in a
come on.
couple episodes, and he always comes off as a spoiled child, who doesn't know how
Yes.
to like basically.
Yes.
The only person that could actually get some adult love and affection out of him was his wife, and she got killed.
Mm.
And then he reverted back to this primal savagery of I want what I want, and if I don't get it, then nobody else can have it type thought process. And we
Mhm.
kind of see that throughout, and that's even in the comics. That's always kind of been his thing. He was
Mhm.
like Wilson Fisk, mild mannered man of the city, key to the city, governor of everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody knew him and loved him. When his wife passed away, he was a fucking gorilla. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's essentially like, I mean, he just never learned or never, even on film or on TV or in the comics or whatever, never kind of took care or dealt with that part. Even in Spider Verse, his whole thing was
Mhm.
wanting to get his family back and going through any
Yep.
means to do it. It means killing everybody, even killing other iterations of his wife and child
Versions of them. Yep.
that may be out there in order to get what he wanted. So, I mean, he's very. I think the character is true. I don't necessarily like it. I think it could be done a little better or it needs to evolve, but nevertheless, that's what the character's been.
That's the character.
I
Yep.
think I think, and that's kind of my overall feelings with the entire show is that the everything that they wanted to do makes sense and is fine. I just think the execution on a lot of it could have been handled better, and this could have been something that I'm not gonna say would have been like a breakout of like the MCU, because I think Loki season 2, I had a lot of gripes with that, but I thought it was a great show. But this
I
had the
love season
workings
two.
to have like a lot of things on the side, and I told Kay this off air. Marvel used to have some plot holes or some of the writing, if we thought was sketchy, we didn't give a fuck because they had excellent fight scenes. The stories that they told were great. We got behind all of the characters and we were so invested. Now they don't have that luxury of us kind of like leaning into that. Now it's almost like people are waiting to pounce, where it's just like, oh
Yeah.
no, nope, shitty, nope, shitty.
Right.
So
Yep.
let me bring this full circle for you. The Philadelphia Eagles have had deficiencies that we've seen all season, but we didn't say anything because they were winning.
Because we were
Now
winning.
those same deficiencies are popping out now that they're losing, and now all of a sudden, fire Sirianni, bench Jalen, get everybody out of here. Like so, it's the same thing. We overlook those issues, those flaws with the storytelling, with the way they build characters. With some of the pacing because the fight scenes were fire because we love the characters and we pretty much came in knowing a good deal about the characters that they were showing because they were mostly main characters. Um, Even like some of the ones that maybe most people didn't. Moon Knight, I'm sure everybody, like, or I won't say everybody, but at least me, like me and you or Kay or maybe Zach or somebody else knew a good deal about Moon Knight before going in. That some of the things that might have been left out weren't like, oh my god, I don't believe that. They was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I know what that's about. Let's just keep moving forward. Fight through the fire, whatever, whatever. But it's like now that they on this decline, man, those glaring weaknesses that we kind of overlooked are now big as day, and we can't overlook them anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's a situation too where, every time they dropped, it was a spectacle. It's just like, oh shit, like, Captain America come out, this come out. Now it's just like, and they used to listen to fans. Like, I think they really used to be like, all right, y'all want this, this is already set up, we'll do the fan service and everything else. Now it seems like they almost do things to spite fans or almost do things just to be like, oh, y'all mad that, this happened, cool. Now we doubling down on it and shit. And it's just like sometimes when you double down and try to go against your fan base, it doesn't work out for you. And it's fucked up because I think Echo is kind of getting a little, kind of in the middle of a lot of like that going on. And it's sad because I don't know what they can do because at this point people are just like, all right, y'all gave us the Echo show, y'all got X-Men, Fantastic Four, we gotta wait 8 years for all this shit to come out, but I gotta kind of just watch this for right now.
Question: would you really trust them to release it right now, though?
You,
Being
you
as
talking about the X-Men
though
stuff?
their projects since what? Thor: Love and Thunder, Ant-Man: Quantumania, all those things. Even Multiverse of Madness, I know is overwhelmingly positive for Multiverse of Madness, but I would have done some things differently. So that being
I didn't
said,
like
would you
Multiverse of Madness.
trust them right now to release X-Men or Fantastic Four?
Well, they are literally at the lowest they've been. The
Right.
Marvels is the worst box office, return for them in the history of the entire company. It's to the point where no one's watching. Like I said, we joked about Miss Marvels. I thought it was a good show. They said something like 475,000 people watched it. But
Which is sad
50,
because
but
it was
50
good.
million people will go watch Wednesday or something. And
Yeah.
like I said, that maybe that's not apples to apples, but it's just kind of like that's the temperature of the room that we're in right now. Echo would be happy if 300,000 people watch the show. Like, and it's just like it sucks because there's so much good content. But like you said, Kay, how can I trust y'all to do everything? I think if y'all did things
Right.
your way, Viola Davis might be Professor Xavier. That's cool in some world, but it's just like I want a good interpretation of a character that I grew up with and that I love.
You know what the sad thing is? I think Viola Davis would
Shout
kill
out
it.
Viola Davis. Nah, she would smoke it and shit, but it's just
She would
like
kill it.
it's not given
But
that.
I
Like,
don't
Give
want
me
it. I
my
don't want it.
X-Men. Yo, are we saving her head if she
I
fights
don't want
Professor
it,
X?
but I think she would kill it though.
yeah, it's just like unfortunately they would kill it, but like shit's there. Bryan
Yeah.
Cranston's there.
Right.
Like some of these roles are layups. Those
Right.
people are there, but
Right.
they've already said, and we'll talk about that on another video. That the X Men
Meryl
may
Right.
be
Streep as
all
Professor X.
yes, that the X Men that the cast may be 80% women, and everything else and stuff. And it's
Oh
just
goodness me,
The
20th
X-Men
Century
are
Fox
already
didn't get some of these characters right.
Yeah, the
I'm
X-Men are
tired.
already female heavy as a team. I don't think we need to like dip and dive into areas that don't need to happen. Like you
Hmm.
got what, six females on the team? And maybe what, five guys?
Storm
That's
and Jean
recently.
Grey are arguably some of the most recognizable Marvel characters ever, are OP
Mm-hmm.
and loved.
Mm-hmm.
Do how about you do them right? If you do them
Right.
right,
And
I'm pretty
Rogue.
sure people will be like, "Thank you."
Fox tried 4 times to do fucking Jean Grey right, and they
Uh,
failed all 4 fucking times. Then, well,
so here's
not
the thing.
the
I think
second movie.
try
The
is a
the second
very
X two,
loose
the
term.
X2 movie was good. Like, I was excited for her to come back in X3. What the fuck happened to her in X3?
Wait,
What the fuck was
you
that
like
trilogy?
the Fox X-Men movies?
Huh?
You like the Fox movies?
The X2, X1 because it was the first one since Blade, the first Marvel movie since Blade, and it was just like my graduating year. I was like 17 or 18 or all that, and I liked it. I was hyped for it. X2 was miles better than X1. I did not like X3.
I told you
I
I thought
only liked
X1
first.
story was better, but I do get why people like
Yeah.
X2 better.
So my thing
It
on
up
the
the ante on
X-Men,
everything.
First
watching
My
them
class,
the
favorite one.
first time,
and
watching the X-Men movies the first time, that first week after you watch them, you're still on that high from seeing all your childhood
mm,
characters on screen. It's
mm,
amazing, right? But when you actually
mm.
break down the story, like yo, Sabretooth didn't even know who Wolverine was. Neither did Wolverine know who Sabretooth
But
was.
they
Like
know
it
each
was
other
just
later on. They have the worst
it's
canon
just
in franchise history.
so
Yeah.
weird, bro.
Which
Like
timeline? Xavier.
yeah, it was just bad. Magneto, not even the X-Men 3, even though that was a whole shit show. Juggernaut, your
uh,
brother just got killed, bro. You no line, nothing. You didn't say nothing about it, no mention of.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Okay, bro. Like there was just some things that at its base, at its core, should have been instilled in
I
those
don't even
movies,
talk about
and they
X3.
were not. We're not even talking the fact that Cyclops was 5'8". We're not even doing that. But
First of all,
and
I love.
Wolverine is 6'4". But whatever. You know, like there
Y'all,
were just
y'all,
some things that
circle back,
Circle
y'all.
back.
right, right,
Circle
right,
back.
We
right,
gotta
right.
save some of that content for X Men talk. Um,
But it was a
did,
shit show.
yeah, did any of y'all have any closing thoughts or anything that y'all wanted to bring up
I'm
about the
sorry,
series?
I've completely drowned out like Zach and Jarek. They're so quiet.
I know I said what I said. I hated it.
Oh,
Me
okay.
personally,
You
like
hated it.
everything. Me,
That's
me
a
personally, I didn't.
strong
So
word.
overall, I gave this show a 7 out of 10.
Wow.
Could be better. What did you give
And
it?
like, I personally didn't like the only shot that I really liked was the one take in the beginning. But
Mm.
once they like started splitting it up, I was like, yeah, I really don't care for this anymore because
Oh.
they ruined a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't like that I can see the splices in the cut and
Yeah,
kind of like
and
know what
each
was.
like, punch, I'm like, yeah, these are not. The punches seem fake as fuck. The fights
Mm.
didn't seem convincing in my
Yeah,
opinion.
the fight seemed a little over choreographed. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest, like it was a little
Mm.
too like, and I think niggas that be rumbling, they be saying that sometimes watching people fight, they be like, it's kind of staged. They did that for Creed and a couple other ones where it's
Right.
too, like,
Right.
okay, like y'all kind of know what's
One,
going
two,
on.
three, four. Somebody said it would look like a dance.
Yeah, and once
And
something kind of looks
I
like a dance is when it's just like,
right.
and like I said, it's not
It
that it's
worked in
as,
Shang-Chi. And they were literally dancing.
but there was still more grit to Shang-Chi. It still was moving pieces and jumping over things and like cuts. And the one take might have hindered some of the stuff that actually would have.
Mm.
It actually, I think, would have been better if chopped a few times. But
Right.
if people like it, I don't think it's like a big deal. It's just one of those
I
things
liked
where,
it.
yeah, it's just one of those things where I didn't like some of the pauses, but you know,
Yeah.
I get it. But go ahead, Zach.
Zach.
Zach disappearing in his room. Echo about to get him. Because this shit gonna come back on. He gonna be the headlock.
You just gonna see sign language being thrown up.
You got. I'm like, how do you know that name?
Oh God.
You gonna sign
So
Martha.
so what did you give it though? Like I gave it a 7 out of 10. I would watch again. I honestly watched it the whole thing yesterday and watched it again today because I needed to make notes and all that stuff and refresh my memory for this conversation. But because my memory is so bad. Um, but what did you give it?
I gave it like a 5 out of 5. I thought it was like average. Remember we used to
Five
say
out
Five
of
out of
five or 5 out of
five.
10?
5 out of 10.
That's a
Sorry,
perfect.
5 out of 10.
Like that's
I
perfect
was about to
5 out of
score.
say,
10.
I didn't get that from the conversation, but
My fault. It was right in the middle for me. Even though I think niggas used to say, did we have that convo before? Is 5 out of 10 mid? Literally.
Yeah, it's
five.
literally mid
Well,
middle.
well, yes and no. So I think 6 or 7 out of 10 is mid, and I think 5 out of 5 is like it was shit, but you trying to give us some grace.
5 out of 10. But I
Mm,
got yeah, it's 5 out of 5 for me. Like,
8.
5 out of 10.
what'd you say, Jared?
Give it a 6.8.
What did you say?
Six point
A six
eight.
point eight.
Oh my
He doing
god.
decimals. You got here doing decimals. All right.
Yeah, because I think, like I said, from if y'all don't know we're a film company, I'll probably leave some stuff in the link so y'all can talk shit about our films. Um,
Hmm.
from I also
Yeah,
don't
be sure
have
to
a
put your
two
name
hundred
to it
million
too.
dollar budget too and shit either. But
How about it?
I thought it was. I did think it was shot beautifully. Sometimes some of the set designs were a little cheap when they did some of the flashback stuff, but I'm not knocking it. Overall, I thought the acting was dope. Shorty, I know it's asking for a lot, so I don't want to be too hard on critiquing her acting because she's signing and doing everything. She still has to do fight sequences.
Is she
So
real life deaf?
Yes.
so in real life, an amputee and everything. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
already
she's the
know.
perfect role for that then.
Hmm.
Everything is literally like kind of built around. So
And the little girl, sorry, little Echo
Looks
was
just like
his
her,
her real
bro.
life cousin.
yeah,
I'm about to say she looks just
she looks
like
just
her.
like her.
Yeah.
So she did her thing. Like I said, my gripes are more so a lot of the execution on story bits, on her being a little bit more resilient as far as like being an assassin. I think some of those words are getting slowly but surely just thrown around in the MCU.
Mm,
Assassins, genius, and then when it's
mm,
time to actually execute it, the execution of showing those things doesn't come across, in my opinion, as hard as it did before. An assassin is
mm.
the Winter Soldier, and it
Right.
was very easy to
An
showcase that.
assassin is Black Widow. Yeah.
And it was very easy to showcase that because Natasha could do a bunch of variety of different things. Some of the flashback shit should have been her on hits. And I would have
You think
appreciated
it
that.
was?
Like real hits, like something where
Uh,
it was like where we had to see her skill, or we had to see her echo an
fair enough.
opponent, or do something along the lines of that. They honestly
Fair enough.
spent too much time in the town. They spent too much time in the town and spent too much time in flashbacks.
I think the time spent in the town was to get you was for them to ingratiate you to her family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and that I'll let you finish and then I'll get mine. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Keith, I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth because those were the better bits, but it's just from a story standpoint, it's almost like you got to pick a side. Do you want us
Right.
to feel more in love with side characters, or do you want us to feel more in love with her?
Is
Because
this a superhero show or a drama?
yeah, and I think I'm glad you brought that up too because there were a lot of beats in here where it just didn't feel like Marvel.
Yeah,
It
it felt like a
felt
family drama.
it felt more like either a family drama or sometimes like a mafia show. And if I really go into the extent of that, it wasn't excellent in my opinion on neither one of those. This wasn't like Yellowstone, you know what I mean, where
That's what I
people
was
were
thinking.
just
Yeah,
like, yo, this is
Yellowstone.
phenomenal. You know what I mean? Or with mob shit, this wasn't, like any of those like hardcore mob joints neither. So it's kind of just
Sons of Anarchy.
yeah, like just things of that nature. And we're told those things, but we just never feel those things. I felt Fist's abilities on Daredevil more as far as like, yo, I can get you touched at any time. And even if I don't get you touched, I'll fuck you up in this alleyway right now. I mean, the most he did was beat up a dude that was serving hot dogs.
Ice cream. It was ice cream, Nicholas.
The ice cream bull that was
When you
just
got two
like,
scoops.
yeah, we're like,
But
you
I
know,
felt terrified every time he was in the room. Honestly, his little twitches, D'Onofrio kills it.
nah, he
Like
snapped.
literally,
He snapped,
like
but it
I
was no
felt
inkling.
tension
It,
every time.
it was no
But you
inkling,
felt
Kato,
tension
that he
because you
would.
care about the Echo character. You didn't want to see her harm.
I just
I
didn't
mean,
feel like he would ever
That's
harm
true.
her.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah,
so it just never clicked for me. Like,
yeah. But
There was no
I
fear.
had an anxiety attack every time this motherfucker was on screen.
Like his mannerisms were decent. I'm not sure if y'all peep. He was doing like ticks with his hands
Yes,
and
that's what
just
I'm like. I
you
don't
know.
like that. Don't
So
like it.
he bodied it, but that's just like he does this shit, and
But see, I think that kind of almost answers your question when you talk about these people being assassins and how come they don't show it and how come we don't see it? Because if they're that good as assassin, I don't care who Kingpin sends, other than maybe another assassin like Bullseye or somebody like that. There's no tension. This is light
mm-hmm.
work, or it should be light work. So I guess in order to kind of make every fight seem like it's a memorable fight or it's an important fight, you sometimes, well, I personally don't think so, but they obviously have the effect that they have to dumb down the audience to, not the audience, the opponent to a certain degree or the hero to a certain degree
Mhm.
to kind of make it seem like a more levy, even kill fight as opposed to the assassin or the hero or whoever up here and then a henchman down here, like it is in the comics. Because I mean, on TV shows, henchmen aren't necessarily that dis- infinitely disposable. Um, so you kind of have to kind of give them a little bit of weight and can't just kind of like just one shot everybody. But it also takes away from
Mhm.
how good the hero or assassin or villain is
And
or
Keith,
appears or comes
I
across.
I think you brought up a great point because all right, so let's talk about like on Shang-Chi. His
Hmm.
dad made it a point to say, I sent the deadliest people that worked for me to kill you, and I knew that they wouldn't
Hmm.
be able to even
But they
hurt
couldn't.
you, that they couldn't.
Hmm.
So it's just like, and mind you, that's like kind of one line, but you kind of feel it. And mind you, some of the dudes that were on the bus were shitty, but when Bull came to go fight him later on the roof, it felt like, oh, okay, this nigga is really an assassin. And it's just like I said, it may not be particularly fair because obviously he seems to have a stronger power set. His fighting is better and everything else. But I'm just illustrating how, like, on there, the assassin title actually like feels like something. Like Jarek, I know you don't
Right.
particularly care about Black Widow, but when someone says she's an assassin, Marvel has done so much groundwork to show you that. She can just be in a
Hmm.
room and start talking to you and be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Okay, this person he wants this," and you be like, "Oh shit!" Like she just read him like a book, and not even killing
Mhm.
anybody or doing anything. If Black Widow was in that room when them hillbillies had her, like this
She'd
shit,
have
this shit,
she'd have wiped the floor with him.
this shit would have been up. And like I said, obviously it's levels to this, and that quote unquote is supposed to be more street crime. Um, but that's just kind of like the overall feeling that I felt. It felt like it was a lot to be wanted, and it wasn't particularly anybody in the cast or anything fault. More so just the execution with shit.
Mm.
I felt
Why
like
hasn't Black Widow
they.
killed Kingpin in the comics? Has she ever killed Kingpin in the comics?
I'm pretty sure
Cause
it's a comic run where somebody did that, like
yeah.
intermixes it.
like she would have bodied him on this show. It's just like Fisk showed nah. She'd have been that'd have been the end of Kingpin. Yelena, it would have been the end of Kingpin for Yelena too, I think. You know what I mean? Like because they're not stupid and they will go after you. And that'll be it.
Well, it's funny because
They
they
brought him
paths
Yeah.
back to
never they
life 2
paths
episodes
never
later.
crossed. But they didn't he
Right.
hire her, didn't he hire her or something at the end of Hawkeye,
No,
or
her
the mom did or something like that. I think the mom
yeah,
did.
the mom did.
And even that is kind of one of those things. And like I said, Keith, not to compare it to like the Netflix stuff, you get a pretty good
Hmm.
feel of Luke Cage can fight an Avenger. You just call it what it is and stuff. Iron Fist could fight an Avenger, Jessica Jones could, and by the time you get into the later stuff with Daredevil, he's clearly fighting all of them and stuff, and he's very capable of doing everything, so he can do all that. It's laughable to think that Echo could stand in the same room with them. Now, mind you, when she gets the power up, obviously, that kind of changes some things.
That's why, yeah.
But I'm just saying, even just kind of the first segments before she had like her powers and everything,
Mm.
it was kind of hard just to see where her place in the MCU would be at. Like, are you on the Thunderbolts? Are and that's another big MCU problem. We'll probably talk about that in another video. That sometimes you watch these, and I get that people are kind of talking out of both sides of the face sometimes because it's like What depends? Y'all might like standalones, and y'all might be like, "Cool, I want more content that isn't really connected to anything." But that doesn't really make sense in the sense of this, just because this is connected to a lot of things. It's connected to Hawkeye. It's clearly connected to the Daredevil series that's coming out, and anything else that touches each other. This is all connected, and she's in New York, which means that's Luke Cage, that's Jessica Jones, that's Spider Man at this point. Um, the MCU has kind of put themselves in a pickle to where you can't give us one offs because everyone's too in the mix. Especially, you can't be in
It's
New
too
York.
interconnected. Yeah.
You can't be in New York
Yeah, that's the
fighting.
thing. It's New York.
Yeah. Now, like I said, if you're in different places, some stuff makes sense. But if you're in New York, you should almost run into somebody.
That's why I loved Cloak and Dagger because they were in Louisiana,
Yeah, they were. I was about to say
and
they was
nobody.
down south.
Yeah, they was down south. I loved it because it wasn't connected to anything. But Misty knew the cop that I can't remember her name for the life of me. But yeah, Misty knew the cop, and that's how it connected to New York. But it was just like that's it. That's how the show was end. you know. But yeah, New York is like my problem with them putting the defenders on the timeline is now running this problem like where was Spider Man? where was where
Well,
was
he was in
Captain
outer
America? They
space.
know about Thor and Captain America because they mentioned them. Wesley mentions them in season one. So I'm like, where are they?
We got
So
where
we
was
we,
basically, but
we
you know what I
gotta
mean? Like
Keith.
they're fighting.
We
They're
gotta
fighting
check
space
Keith.
level.
Yeah, we gotta check to see where
I
they
don't
put it
know
at.
when on the
Where
timeline,
they put it at in
but
the
yeah,
timeline.
yeah.
I hold
What?
on.
But I'm like, where are
I'll
these
fact check.
people?
I'm on Disney right now. I can
Yeah.
tell you.
Okay,
The
where in the
MCU
timeline
timeline,
is it
where is Daredevil
exactly?
at? I mean, where is the Defenders at? Like, what movie is it in front of?
All right. Well,
Um,
while you're doing that, so as far as what I
It's
gave
going to
it.
be
I think I
after
gave it about a
Avengers.
7. I gave it about a 7. I thought it was really good. I felt like what they did here in this show, it's almost they tried to right what the wrong of not giving enough family and Miss Marvel. I felt like they did that
Hmm.
here, at
Yeah.
the expense of building up the hero, but also
Hmm.
or the anti-hero or whatever you want to call it. But I thought it was still really good. I thought all the parts that didn't even have to do necessarily do with Echo or her being in the scene. When it came to the uncle, when it came to Bonnie or Biscuit or the grandmother, I thought were really really well done. I thought the acting was great. I can't say anybody
Hmm.
was like in over their head except for maybe Echo, and it was just because possibly because she wasn't able to emote or audibly get out the way she needed to. But I thought it was shot really well. It wasn't like, yo, this looks like crap. It didn't look CW-ish. It still had that dark, yet high contrast look to it. Um, and again, I would have been perfectly fine if they didn't bring in the supernatural powers. Just
Hmm.
because I thought the show up to that point was just that good. But you could definitely tell the point where Disney started Disney, and like it was just got to where all right, so now we got she's standing there in front of Fisk, and there's like four women, apparitions of women behind her, and all of a sudden everybody now has the glow in their hands. Like, okay, cool. Like we didn't even kind of warm up to this point. We just kind of just dove right
Yeah.
in and got to this point.
Yeah.
To Nick's point earlier, kind of Mary Sue did. Like, how did she
Yeah.
know that she could do that? Granted, they're all a part of your
Mm-hmm.
bloodline, and your grandmother kind of mentioned
Yep.
the women of the bloodline being able to, but how did you know you could bring that out of them? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
And
so,
the first, yeah.
um, all in all, like, I thought it was definitely cool. Um, the part that still gets me is the part that I'm happy to be watching now. That whole roller skating scene and them in the back room and not being able to get out, bro. That shit just,
It dragged.
yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely, it was too long. It was just way too long. That was most of the episode. Her in the back room with, with Hillbilly
Mm.
Bob, like, watching the door with the
Mm.
gun. And she wasn't even holding the gun
She
correctly.
was
She was holding
building the
that shit
gun though,
like
right?
Jonah Hill and fucking This Is the End. Um,
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
but she only did it
sidebar.
just to take the
Didn't
light
Biscuit
out.
look like Jack Galifianakis? The
Yes,
dude from
yes.
the Hangover. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
What happened? What?
Biscuit looked like Zach
What'd you say? What'd you
Galifianakis.
say?
You heard him?
Galifianakis?
Yeah.
same person.
Who?
Biscuits.
He was cuter. He's adorable. I love
Defenders is
Biscuit.
Defenders is after Iron Fist and before Civil War.
Damn. Defenders is before Civil War.
Oh shit. And so, if that being said, Spider Man was Spider Man. He was just
Yeah,
in the pajamas at
he
that
was in the
point.
he was in the pajamas.
And he was
He was
Mm-hmm.
very, very
busy
low
doing real
key
missions.
because Stark had to go hunt him down. He wasn't just out there doing it like out in front of everybody. He was trying to be low key at least.
Mm.
So Keith, you just brought up that like the power set and everything threw you off towards the end. Imagine if you took the powers completely out, and all those segments when you see her ancestors were filled with backstory on different missions and seeing her have to like level up on like missions and shit like that, and built up towards the end. And then at the end, she was able to fight Kingpin on her own, beat him, and do everything all like that. Does that jump from like a 7 in your opinion to now like kind of a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10?
It definitely jumps up to probably about a nine. Even if when during the flashback she might have been catatonic where she was, but in that time frame where she was with the person, time had passed and she
Mm.
was learning.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? There was like
Yeah.
she could have spent years with that person, but been seconds in the real world. Even though that's a cop out, showing that might have
Yep.
given you a little bit of grace, and then you know what I mean would have jumped it up for me as far as like how to paint yourself out of a corner from a writing standpoint. But
Would you?
just to kind of be like, ha, I can do it. Like, okay, well, who told you that? Because I mean, shit, I know I could hook this up to my, my speakers up to my Wi-Fi, but I need somebody to tell me how to fucking do it. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So being able to do it and knowing you can do it is two different things, and
Yeah.
not especially when you don't learn or practice. It's essentially the Chronicle thing. Dude was so strong because he always did it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody could do what he did, but nobody put in the work to do what he did, which is why nobody could do what he did. That was a tongue twister. But yes, but like that's essentially what it comes down to.
So yeah.
Would you would have appreciated it if she beat his ass though in one season?
I mean, I think this is a
Depends on all the work she
situation.
put in.
Because I'm not trying to see my kingpin, because he's fucking kingpin, get his ass whipped.
I mean, he technically just got his ass whooped mentally. So I mean, we've seen
Yeah,
him. We've seen.
but like
I mean, K,
physically,
at this point, K, we've seen him lose in like 3 different instances. You keep losing to Daredevil. You lost to Punisher in the joint. She shot you in your face. If I see you again,
You
you've
lost to
lost. You've
Hawkeye.
lost. You.
but Punisher got rocked. Like I was just watching that, he got rocked when he headbutted him, and then they just stopped and he
Nah,
walked away.
I
So it's
get
just
it. I
like
get it. But
that was
it's
like a
like
draw,
people got to keep the same energy with Kang that they keep with other people in the
right?
MCU. To where if we see
Yeah.
you 5 times, you lost 5 times. You're not as
Mm,
menacing moving forward
So
as you think.
so
mm,
this is what I'll say about that. And this is the comparison I will have to Kingpin. Kingpin will be the equivalent to Brock Lesnar, right, in the WWE. No matter how many times he lost, every time he pops up, you see him as a threat because you know his history. You know his back. You know what I mean? You know
mm.
what he's done in the past. You know his pedigree. Some of these other villains that are taking these L's are new. You have no currency with us. You have no. We don't know what you do. Yeah, we might know you, the comic book geeks or nerds or whatever, but the general public don't have a fucking clue who you are. You just a dude that gave a crazy speech, but now it's time to throw hands and you're getting your ass beat by fucking insects. Like, you know, what I mean, make it make sense. Whereas, like Kingpin, we've seen his resume. We know how fucking cutthroat, ruthless he is.
Dangerous.
Like, so you
Yeah.
don't have to revisit those things. And because we know how ruthless he is why we feel that tension whenever he's in the room. Why we always think that he's a threat
Oh
whenever
yeah.
he's in a fight. I would have rather seen him beat the brakes off of Echo, and right before he lands that blow is when she does the thing with her fingers, and then she touches him that way. Like,
Yeah, I think that's better
keep
storytelling.
right, keep Kingpin,
Really?
give him an out. You know what I mean? Don't make the don't make the loss or win clean. Make it, fuzz it up a little bit.
Mm,
I guess K because it seemed very one sided, and besides the fact that
mm.
it felt very anticlimactic a little bit too. Everything just felt one
Oh, I
sided,
agree.
and it felt like everything was resolved super fast. It seemed like the writers' room was basically like, "Damn, y'all, we got one episode left. Shit. Well, we got to get her to point A to point B. we said the fair
Right.
was happening, so we kind of got to show the fair. And then they looked and was like, damn, we got
Right.
15 minutes left, and we got an end credit put in here too. Damn. Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and fight in the mine. Let's Professor X this shit. Um,
It's funny because I did
Yeah,
not
because
like the talk
yeah,
no
Shannon.
jutsu. Honestly, I did not like the talk no jutsu, but I like that it failed.
yeah,
He's like, "What did you do?" He got the villainous breakdown or whatever, but obviously he's gonna do the Mayor Kingpin run. So, yeah, or Mayor Fisk run. So,
I mean, we don't know if it failed. We don't. Did we see him give her the hammer or not give her the hammer, or did it just kind of cut?
we don't know exactly what happened at all. Like he just kept saying, "What did you do?" And it was clear that she was trying to give you mental therapy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but nothing seemed resolved within the mental therapy because the
Yeah.
everything had kind of stopped, and then it was, "What did you do?" And then
Oh, she
they pulled
failed.
out the thing. Um,
Yeah, she failed.
I mean, well, she got out alive, so something had to work.
Well,
She was
yeah,
about to
she
get
got out alive,
everybody.
but she failed to convert him. He was like, "I'll never be what you want me to be." So, because I was worried, I'm like, "Are they gonna turn Kingpin to a like semi good anti-hero?" Because I hate this.
it's
You
happened in
know, I
I
comics.
would
hate
believe
all
that,
the
but
idea
right after he
of
said
that.
that is when she kind of went harder, and then I think she put it on his head. Pause. And
Mm,
I think I think that aspect. But see, that kind of leads me to I don't know what happened because why go through the extra
right,
step? Why not just cut it there and him come
right,
out? But to go through the
right.
extra step to then be like, I don't know. That might be something that has a lasting and trickling effect going forward in whatever Kingpin does next.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm imagining. Maybe it's something that works over time because that spell is on him and in him. And I think that's the woodpecker from 20 years ago. That bird, I think this is a woodpecker from 20 years ago, and then her healing hands
What a
probably
resemblance. Yeah.
did something to him.
The bird is symbolic for their culture, and it shows you when like a major
Yeah.
phenomenon or a change is about to happen. Every time
Hmm.
the bird is
It's
spotted,
change about to
something
happen. Yep.
yeah, something major happened for all her
Yep.
ancestors when the bird was spotted. So
Yep.
Hmm.
like I said, they did a lot of things decent here. I went into this with no expectations and thought it would be like pure dog shit. And
Mm.
they did all the Native American stuff like justice, and I'm happy that Native Americans actually can have more people to look to for representation because it's important. Keith, I do agree with you
Mm.
that like this didn't feel agenda based. It didn't feel like, oh, okay, she has to necessarily put a garb on or shoot with the bow and arrow at the end. Um, I think the only
Run
time they
around with a
did that a little,
tomahawk.
yeah, I think the only time they did that a little bit was when she had to put the suit on at the end, but that was fine. I didn't think we were gonna
I
get.
like the
No,
suit.
I like the suit too, and I
I
didn't think.
like
I
the
thought that
suit.
was nice.
Yeah, I knew we weren't kind of gonna get the straight up Echo joint because if that's the case, I thought they would have put. She has this decent handprint, the white
The
joint that
face
goes
thing.
over
The
On her
her.
yeah.
face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's symbolic for I think her
Hmm.
pop when her pop died or like
Her name
they,
is Echo. That's how you say her name. That's how you say her name in sign language. So she did the handprint. That's the homage to that.
yeah. So
And it was in Hawkeye too when the blood of her father touched her face, and it was that symbol. So or that the handprint. So
yeah.
I
So
think that we're gonna get it.
I
yeah.
think they didn't do it because it would have been too reminiscent of the red hand in Captain America and Hawkeye or Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Red hand.
For
The
Winter
terrorist
Soldier,
group
the terrorist group.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
the
The
Flag
terror. That's
Smashers.
right.
The
Yeah,
Yeah.
Flag
Flag
Smashers had the
Smashers. Yeah,
Mm.
and because like I said, Keith, I really could have drawn. I could have went into this like, especially thank God Prey didn't drop closer to this.
bruh.
If Prey would have dropped closer to this, you'd have just been like,
Because a lot of the landscape shots reminded me of Prey, like wide open spacious, a lot of sky. Yeah,
yeah. So
That's a
and
lot of America, though. That's literally a lot of America. Wide open spaces,
yeah,
mountains, lots of
especially when you
sky.
get
Like,
to like Oklahoma and places like that where it's just literally
hmm
just kind of open
yeah,
land. Um,
hmm
you
maybe we
know,
need to relocate.
We're all just crammed into these dumbass cities.
We may not be allowed in some of those spots.
Yeah,
Redemption,
wait, I know
Oklahoma.
that. I know that.
We
Definitely
can't
know
go
that.
out during after the sun go down.
Back the way
No
it
movies filmed
came.
at nighttime.
Yeah. But anything else that you guys wanted to add about anything?
Now, I really enjoy
Um,
this. Enjoyed this. 7 out of 10 for me. I see where they're going. I would have liked longer episodes and or more episodes. Um, I really like the actress as a whole to be able. She's kicking ass because I can't even say my line. It's funny because it was at a point where after my brain surgery, they didn't know if I was going to be able to talk again or not. So I was gearing myself up to learn sign language. And if I wanted to go back to acting, I'd have been having to, we'd have had to do a film crew, like a consultant for the entirety of the cast. And I would have had to do my lines. Like, I was close to that situation. Thank goodness I got my ability to talk back. I'm not deaf. I would have been hearing, but I would have to communicate with sign language. You know what I mean? So everybody else would have had to learn it. So shout out to the entire crew for actually learning all of that. I love that they sign in so many different accents. Basically, with the uncle was more chaotic, and the cousin Bonnie was more controlled and elegant. I love that. Just the attention to detail for the lands, the town as a whole. I really wanted to go. I was like, I want to go to this powwow. Damn it! Like I've never been to one because I've never been in a state where they have, you know what I mean, a majority, not but majority, but a big native presence. So that was
they have them in PA.
very really. You see, I
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah, they
didn't
have. I
know
used to
about
go
my
to them all the
fucking
time
state.
as a kid. I was telling your
I'm
mom we
just
were right in sync.
dumbass.
No, you're not dumb. It
I used
was
to
I'm
go
just
just
to them. No, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
it literally was
I
tribes in
know.
PA.
Yeah,
mm,
because like my mom's side of the family is very much Native American. So we
okay.
used to go every year
Okay.
when I was a kid, and then after a while we stopped going. We used to make our own
Right.
outfits. Nothing too flamboyant or crazy,
Right.
but to be there and to kind of be in your culture is kind of crazy. So that
Yeah.
powwow scene was lit for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was like over the top. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was
Yeah.
like too crazy. We weren't summoning spirits or nothing with a
It felt
peyote
real.
pipe or nothing. It felt like it felt
It
like
felt like real.
good background, not
Mm,
taking over the entire scene.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt real. It felt natural. It felt like it was a part of that stage and a part of the place, and more importantly, a part of the narrative. It did
Mm-hmm.
not feel forced into the narrative. You know what I mean? And it's sad to say, it's like, oh, you got to force your culture in a narrative, but sometimes it happens. It happened with fucking Black Panther. In the beginning of Black Panther 2, I'm going to get shit for this, but it happened in the beginning when they went to recruit Riri. Like, it's just like, this feels so forced for some reason. I don't even know why she's here, you know? But yeah, yeah,
Nah.
everything about it. I like where this is going. I'm hoping, even though it's a Marvel spotlight, I'm hoping it's gonna be. I get more of Echo. Yeah,
Depends on
and
how
that's
many
it.
people watch it.
Yeah, probably. But I want to get more of Echo.
Yeah, and like I said, I call a spade a spade. Even with Miss Marvel, they did a very good job of really. The only thing I hated from Miss Marvel Joan when it was like I'm just a brown girl from Jersey, and it's just like,
Bruh,
and it's like,
I think we're past that point where you need to say that line.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was like sometimes like
What
it's
was the line
subtlety
in
and just
the Marvels? Black Girl Magic. I'm like,
oh
please
black girl
stop.
magic, and it's just like
Oh, Sam, please stop.
yeah, it's like we kind of so far from that. You don't have to like look at the audience and be like
Right.
you know like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
got you. Like it's just let the show continue. We don't do that
Right.
here.
You we don't do that here. You know how I feel about the affirmative action casting. So
Yeah, and that actually is we probably run on a tangent. Y'all probably don't know. We almost talking for 2 hours.
oh
Um,
shit.
that's shit like that is what ruined the Falcon, John.
Mm,
To where y'all was so heavy handed,
mm.
and if y'all have reeled back a little bit or leaned into it in different ways, it would have
Which
been
part?
better. The whole Isaiah bit, him getting arrested, the whole, like I said, I didn't like the whole him being basically the poorest Avenger. They literally on the show call him Black Falcon, like, you know what I mean. So it's
Oh.
just like, just it felt very heavy handed, like, terrorism feels very, like these people didn't ask to be here. It was so much
Like
overlying layers of everything.
that final speech,
I
and
didn't
he
feel
goes,
that way.
You got to do better,
do
Senator.
better, Senator.
That part
And they're
annoyed me.
like, And it's like,
But
Sam, they're
it goes
fucking terrorists, bro. Like, they
I
literally are
right.
terrorists.
Right. They were
Literally.
she was literally a terrorist. Like I
Stop
don't
Yeah,
know.
calling them
Sam
Like
that,
I
Wilson
didn't
didn't have
Senator.
a choice.
that's
He tried to
not
talk her off the ledge.
that's a thing that the Marvel didn't stick the landing on the last episode and it felt rushed. That's yeah, that just coincides. So that just proves my point. Like they don't stick the landing and they feel rushed, except for Loki and
I thought
season two
I thought
Loki.
that
I
shit
loved
happened
it.
on Wanda, too. You guys don't know what she
Yeah,
had
I
to
don't remember.
sacrifice. It was
Oh
like,
yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't
you
want to
That's
said
talk
what
about
she
another.
it.
had to say. What'd you say, Jared?
I said that's another episode.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
another
true. That's another
episode.
episode. You know what? That's true. That's another episode.
Does Marvel don't know how to end? Um. So yeah, y'all. Anybody else say anything before we wrap this up?
No, I'm good.
Cool. This is your first time on the channel. Make sure y'all subscribed. This is literally the launch to the channel. I knew this was going to be a hot subject, so wanted to get this out there. Tell us in the comments what y'all want us to get into. I know when it's MCU related, we're probably going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. Just because it's upcoming projects, it's casting, a whole bunch of rumors with other stuff. Lucasfilm has a whole bunch of shit going on right now that we can discuss and get into. Movies. The landscape is just going to be funny to talk about movies. I
A
actually want to.
minefield.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about, was 2023 the worst year in movie history? Um,
Technically, that'd be
I need to look
2020,
back.
but
what'd you say, Jared?
Nah, Oppenheimer dropped this year,
Um,
and
so,
And Barbie,
so did
and Super Mario Bros.
Velma and Rings
both
of
of which I
Power.
haven't seen.
And whatever good movie you name, I can name something that some people might say is the
Godzilla
worst.
minus
Oh,
zero
yo,
is
no
100%.
disrespect.
You the one that brought us in with the Velma shit. You was like, bro, I'm
Yeah, you
watching this shit
definitely did.
now.
That's your
We
fault.
was like,
Who,
what?
me?
Yeah, nah, Jared.
No, Jared.
Oh, I'm like, who are you pointing at?
But nah, we gonna have a bunch of different things that we gonna be talking about, like, on here and everything. So
Bad is good.
more content like this coming soon. Shout out to everybody involved with Echo. Like I said, we was bidding, but like, overall, like, that was one of the better shows.
It was a solid show.
I was surprised. I was going in thinking it was going to be ass, bro. Like I didn't know if I was going to make it to the first episode, but I'm like 70%. I'm like, yo, this is actually all right. Hopefully they don't fuck it up. But it was cool.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
interested to see like how people feel and kind of what their approach is. Because like I said, I could have been a bit more nastier in my approach with this as well, but I feel like it was enough good shit around it to not get into being ultraly nasty.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Because I'm at the part of the show now on the silent rewatch. When the dude handed her that crescent or that insignia, what was that? Because it wasn't a part of the leg.
I thought she was supposed to put it on her leg, like with it,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
It
I
went
don't know
over the
what that
top of
was.
her leg.
Yeah, I thought it would have just attached to like a part of her leg and to be shown just for symbolic reasons. And then she was
Oh,
like, "Well,
just
I'm gonna
for-
just cover." She
just
said, "I'm
for
gonna cover
drip?
that shit with my jeans." Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
just for drip.
It was the sun. It was sun and something else. I think it was a
No, I
but
got that,
sun
but like
symbol.
it's not functional. I thought it had some function on the
Oh,
actual
I don't think so.
prosthetic.
I don't think so.
No, Keith, I did too, and that felt a little cheap too. Cause I thought, how shows be, it'd be like, yo, I need da 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 da, and then they'd be like, all right,
Right.
cool, this shit shoot out
Right. I thought it was a
You expected a
I
cannon
thought it was
relay?
Chekhov's gun. Like, yo, if you showing it to me, it got to be something. This shit
Like
better have a
imagine
batarang
if
in it
he's
or
like,
something.
yo, right now, the leg don't do this, but it's gonna shoot out a toxic blade, and then at the end she shoot Vincent D'Onofrio with it later and shit, and it's like, oh, that's the blade from earlier. Like
Yeah,
it
Chekhov's
never
gun. If you
happened.
show it to me, you better
It
use
was
it.
just for drip. I did not get that at all. I just think it was for.
No, that's literally like a hero thing. Like you can't have the person
Yeah,
making your shit like not make your
she
shit.
ain't a hero yet though.
Um, never mind. That's
She gotta
that's.
earn those stripes.
Did she
I
earn them?
don't
Okay,
think
by
she
the
earned
end.
her hero stripes.
Damn, she ain't earned the dress up scene. The dress up scene
No,
was kind
she
of
earned it. No, no, she earned the dress up scene, but she didn't earn her hero stripes yet. It's gonna take a while for me to call her a hero.
yo
Like,
Marvel. I want to leave this review. Marvel used to be so good at like at the end of the movie where somebody throw that drip on and they like throw the cape behind them and like walk out in slow motion. Niggas don't even be deserving them Jones no more. Now Falcon put cap shit on. We like
you were like, I was like, yeah, I was excited. I look,
No,
I
so
was
Nah, no
you
excited.
know what?
problem.
I'm not even gonna say it because that's a whole other subject. But he
Yes,
did
this is
put
a
the
whole
work
nother
in.
subject. Let's go.
He did put the work in. We did see that montage.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like she's not a hero
Oh,
yet.
okay. No, 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 no. So they're showing it now. So it actually kind of wraps around the front of the leg to kind of like
yeah,
Yeah.
cover the bar, so her foot doesn't just look like a bar.
yeah.
But I
Mm.
still thought it had functionality.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, I didn't think that.
She just doing
I
it
don't
for
know
the
why I didn't
drip,
think
and this
that,
nigga.
but
Why is he in
I'm
jean
like, what are you
shorts
gonna
with
make, bro?
ruffles?
Telling
Yo,
I'm
Falcon,
what's
like,
up
you're in
with
a
your man
pawn shop. What are you
Biscuit?
gonna make?
telling Falcon he isn't good enough is the equivalent of America telling black people they're not good enough.
Pretty much.
Mm.
I mean,
Can
I'll say
we
that
can
shit,
we
and I've
can we
said it.
end this now? Because this is a whole nother subject.
That's a whole nother subject that I can't wait for us to get into. Because now we got to have a conversation about every Disney show and talk about it and
Like,
shit.
comment, subscribe.
More content like this coming soon. We
Hopefully
love y'all.
shorter.
Yeah,
Nah, or not.
some Jones, we might clip some of this.
Yeah.
We gonna holler at y'all, man. Peace.